Hello everyone, welcome back to the Overwatch Atlantic Showdown. As we enter into our top 4 teams, we have a very exciting matchup for you. First off, please give it up for Team EnVyUs. They're representing North America in this matchup, but representing EU, we have Rogue. Now keep a close eye on the games because this is going to be wild. I'm going to hand you over to our analysts who are going to take you through the action.
Cheers, love. Thank you very much, Rachel. We're back here on the analyst desk. I was off fighting crimes. I was a bit busy this morning, but I'm back here to talk some Overwatch for you guys. And I'm very happy about that. I have Hug and... wait.
Stir.
It's
yeah.
Okay. I went to go for the real name, and I was like, ah, damn it. So Hug, Stir, and of course Fishsticks joining me for this. And we have a semi-final on our hand. Rogue going up against EnVyUs. Yeah, no one is envying Rogue for this very matchup.
Nice.
However, yeah, I know, right? But we have to say that Rogue did an incredible performance so far in this tournament. I really feel like they did show that they could win against a team such as EnVyUs. Do you guys agree?
I think right now they're trying to trick themselves. You know how people, like, they pump themselves up? They're like, I can do this, and there's no way they're gonna do it. That's what they're all doing right now. They're on Twitter, they're saying, you know what, the pressure's on EnVyUs. They're the guys that are 57-0. We're totally calm. We're gonna easily win this. They're gonna choke. So
you guys also think that that's not gonna happen, even though they performed really well?
I mean, it's unlikely.
No hope?
If anything, we might see something crazy come out of Rogue, some new strategy, some new meta, something like that, but it's going to be insanely difficult to catch EnVyUs off guard. I mean, we've seen this team react to all kinds of scenarios absolutely perfectly, so I don't know, it's going to be so hard, and Tvik and Co, they're going to have to pull something weird out of their sleeve.
Yeah, with Rogue playing these matches the last, today, yesterday, EnVyUs has had a lot of time to watch them. All of the weird things that you might expect from them, they've already pulled out. They had the Mei on Hanamura, so what are you going to do? Pull out Hanamura, try Mei. EnVyUs they're ready for that.
Okay, so if you're looking at EnVyUs then, do you guys personally, I mean, it's always easier as someone who observes the games rather than someone playing the games to maybe find a flaw, maybe find that one thing they might be lacking. Does EnVyUs have a flaw?
I would say one of the big faults that they have just today is that this is a live event and they haven't been playing games. Yes, that's great because you get to review things, but at the same time, it cools you down. You're not hot. You've not been used to playing on stage, and that takes a process. Sometimes teams come into games and it takes them 1 or 2 rounds to get into it, and that might be the case with EnVyUs. I think this matchup will be a lot closer than what we expect. I would expect maybe a 3-1 or a 3-2. But EnVyUs being EnVyUs, I think in the end, they're going to pull it together. They'll just have a slow start.
EnVyUs is fallible, though. They have lost single maps. Well, they haven't lost any matches. They have lost single maps. For instance, Dorado is a map that they tend to lose more than anything else. So if anything, there will be a chance to get a sneaky win here or there for Rogue. And but really, honestly, they're going to have to all play perfectly. Yesterday, we saw them play very well as a team. But there were some individual performances that need to step up. We can't see any mistakes because EnVyUs will take advantage of every last one of them.
We actually want to take a quick look now at EnVyUs, so let's just roll it.
Since we're in EnVyUs, we didn't have any roster changes whatsoever. Harmony within the team is super good. Like, we have fun all the time. We're having fun on stage. We always make each other laugh. Overwatch is pretty much a game that, to be really successful, obviously you need really good players in the team. You need really good communications. You need to plan ahead of fights. It's definitely a challenge as well to, like, you know, have really good team harmony in Overwatch. That makes Overwatch even better for me. Yeah, it's just awesome.
Finally.
Yeah, that confidence. When they're standing there, they know they could potentially already have it in the back. But I don't think Rogue is not going to put up a massive fight to kind of maybe prove us wrong. And I'm going to say, I have faith. I do think Rogue can pull it off. I was very impressed with their performance here, and well, even if you think they're lying to themselves, they are confident. I mean, they are going into as the underdog, so they do have a little bit less pressure. However, if we're looking at Rogue, what do you guys think in this tournament was their main problem? Do you feel like there is one specific thing you could point out, maybe a specific player, or you feel like this person has to step up their game a little bit?
Well, we see Reinforce, who's been the solid tank for this team for a very long time. He's a fantastic Reinhardt player. However, when it comes to Winston, which is becoming more and more common, especially on King of the Hill, on a whole lot of points throughout different maps, when you want to get that high ground, a lot of folks are favoring Winston. I think that we still have yet to see him truly blossom as a Winston player, and maybe we'll see that right now. But again, we are going to Anubis first. Temple of Anubis will be the first map today, and very few teams scrim on this. So the question is, who has more experience? We did see, of course, Rogue come out with some pretty interesting strategies on the capture point maps.
Whichever team plays more ranked competitive has more experience on Anubis, probably. There aren't teams playing this. When you say, hey, let's scrim, let's practice together, let's get a team together, let's play Anubis, they've left. They're not going to be playing you anymore.
And here you can see the lineup of the teams. Internet Hulk, of course, being that captain of Team EnVyUs, and he is such a great captain. He's actually older, generally, than most of the players on a lot of these teams. I want to say he's like 28, 29. He's had a very lengthy...
Don't make that sound old, please. That's,
yeah, I mean, he's older, but he's a great-looking guy. He's in good shape. He's very enthusiastic.
Good job there.
Yeah, but here we do have the tank player for Team EnVyUs, Coco, once again. And I think what you were saying earlier, he is actually one of the best Winstons.
Yeah, absolutely. And there is going to be a lot riding on both the tanks' backs, of course. Chipsijin, known as one of the premier support players in the game. He really pioneered Zenyatta, even playing Zenyatta sometimes before Zenyatta was picked by every team all the time.
Next up over here on Team EnVyUs,
Harry Hook.
we have a man. It's Harry Hook. Many players have actually said to Harry Hook they think he is just the best support player on any team.
Oh.
His Team EnVyUs, there's so many people you can say are just the best of their class. Harry Hook on Lucio is incredible.
And like a lot of Lucios, he's actually the shot caller for this team. They do communicate, everybody's communicating a lot. But finally, of course, Internet Hulk. You all know him well as the Winston main, but he plays just about everything. This guy can play Symmetra, he can play Reaper. This brings us to our next.
And of course, the hotshot himself, Taimu, very similar to his first name, Timo. Is that how you say it? I don't know, European, so
yes.
Who knows? But he is the hot McCree on that team, and finally ending it up, the one American to keep it an American team. What it matters.
Just barely.
Yes, just barely, but it is Tailspin. And he's a very interesting guy because, of course, he was one of the best Pharahs in the world, and since then he's been able to transition, which is something some players have had a trouble doing in the past.
Yeah,
well,
absolutely. Coming from a Tribes background, definitely a fast game. Pretty similar to Overwatch in that way, I guess, not completely, but able to pick up any character and just keep playing at a very high level here.
So looking at the maps, I mean, the maps now for the semifinals changed a little bit. Maybe let's talk what we might see from those two teams. So what are they comfortable playing on?
That's a great question.
Not Anubis.
Thank you. Not Anubis.
No, I think both these
okay.
teams are going to be feeling a little bit uncomfortable, but I think
that's great because Anubis is going to be the starting map.
yeah, of course, and I think that favors Rogue because anything that's inconsistent at this point is what you want from Rogue. You want strange variables coming up at any point, and EnVyUs, they want to keep it very standard because they feel they are the better team. Rogue, the more they can gamble, the better it is for them.
Honestly, does EnVyUs care?
Yeah,
They could go anywhere.
I think they play more ranked. I think they stream more, but at the same time, I think Rogue are not upset about this pick.
Yeah, you definitely have to figure out your strategy early on here, stick with it, get something that works. I would actually like to see Tailspin on Pharah on this map. It's something that, I mean, the McCree Zenyatta combo takes you out very quickly, but there's enough buildings to hide behind on Temple of Anubis. You can push people off the high ground early and bully them and get them forced all over the place. I think it could actually work. Will we see it? Maybe not, but I would love to.
So two maps we haven't seen so far in the tournament, Route 66 as well as Hollywood. Are you guys thinking that's something we could potentially see, or will those teams try to stay away? I see you nodding here,
I certainly
see you
hope
shaking
so.
head, no.
Obviously, Hollywood has been one of the tried and true competitive maps since the early days, since all the online tournaments and all of that. We've seen Hollywood time and time again, and it's a very dynamic map. You know, especially when you move on to the second phase, there's this whole dichotomy between holding the high ground, which is so high above the payload, but then when do you drop down? And you know, the decision making that goes into this map is a lot of fun. So I do hope we see it.
What do you guys think? You disagree with him?
No, I completely agree. I think their maps are very dynamic, and I think that these players prefer those maps compared to EnVyUs. So I think, of course, we're going to see them, but we're going to go through the players so far on this rogue team. And of course, starting off, we do have Reinforce, who has been, I think, you know, personally, he's been inconsistent.
He's too nice of a guy to say that.
Yeah, you feel bad.
He's going to watch his back.
Stop it, Chris. Stop it.
Of course, we have Tavik. He was a hotshot player from Team Fortress 2 coming over here, carrying over those skills. Really powerful DPS player, oftentimes doing incredibly well here.
Definitely a great personality. Nox, who actually was on the Creation Esports, actually Dignitas now, but he was on that roster, recently switched on over to Rogue.
And AKM, that most consistent McCree so far in this tournament. We're going to be seeing him go huge for his team.
Yeah, I think he's the only person who's gotten like 4-person Deadeyes. Yeah. And then Unko, of course, is going to be playing on Zenyatta for the most part. Great Zenyatta player and does more fragging than almost any other Zenyatta.
Wins, the most confident, the only person to look into the camera. The incredible Zarya player right there for Rogue.
He's given us multiple winks throughout the weekend. And
I like that, though.
One thing to call out, which we did call out again yesterday, but just to remind you guys, Wins and AKM are brothers, and they have incredible chemistry. You know, maybe it's because they're brothers, maybe they've just played a ton of games together. I don't know, but watch to see those guys. They're going to be doing great together.
Yeah, and we hope the team is going to do great together as they are heading into the first map of the semifinals. I am so excited to get that game on its way, and that's what we're going to do. So let's head over to our lovely casters.
Thank you very much, Zoe, or maybe it's Lena, I'm not really sure anymore. It is going to be the first semi-final here. EnVyUs up against Rogue. They look confident, Jason, even Michael giving us a chance to look into the camera there. Wins feeling, or at least trying to give off the impression that he's confident, but who is confident going here onto a map like Temple of EnVyUs? I know we've seen Rogue on it, but we really haven't seen these two teams play each other really much at all.
They played each other once, actually, with no Temple of EnVyUs at all. It was back at the Beat Invitational quite a long time ago, to be honest. It was in the quarterfinals, the best of 5, and you could probably guess how it turned out. It was a 3-0 in favor of EnVyUs with, I believe, Watchpoint Gibraltar, Hollywood, and Kingsrow all being played. But that's back when Toxkin was on the roster, the temporary sub-in for IDDQD when he left. And now Nox is on the roster, the new caller for the team. So things can be different. But Temple of EnVyUs, especially that new part, is my home map now, coming into it.
Your home map?
I'm probably one of the worst casters that we have here today. But we'll see what they're going to go with the lineups, because we've seen a lot of teams take some quick points, but we've also seen some teams really struggle and really get dragged out a lot when it comes to this second transition, even the first, to be honest.
We've had our moments on this map as well, playing it obviously through competitive mode.
I did not lose this that game, all
okay,
right?
well, all right. It was a joint
team.
effort, all right? I was just playing Mercy, though. Like, what am I going to do, man? You flew in, they killed you. But it's going to be Rogue starting here on the defense. Tavik, going to be looking towards a Junkrat early on here. We have seen teams use this with varying degrees of success, I feel.
It makes it really hard to play a McCree as a Junkrat, because it makes it really difficult for a McCree to actually like walk into position and get himself set up a little bit. You have to be very mobile, moving left and right, which makes it obviously harder to aim. We did see Timer actually sit on Widowmaker, which actually could have been a possibility, depending on how EnVyUs want to go for the attack. But they got the Tracer for Timer, so they're going to try to play extremely quickly with him and Tailspin and Internet Hulk to jump into the backline. Rogue, they're going to have a tough time defending, to be honest, because Tavik won't have an opportunity to do much. But that's going to be the trap combo. That's Taimu down.
Oh no, Tavik would have gone forward and laid a trap in a, well, maybe not such an obvious spot there, but Taimu, that's getting in someone's head already. Lays down the trap and puts a remote mine on top. Of course, it's an insta-kill if you are that Junkrat player. So Tavik, of course, I'm sure he'd be grinning right now as well, but we won't have much time to relax as the fight already seems to be started by EnVyUs here. Internet Hulk went up on his own there, took a heck of a lot of damage and forced to back away here. Tavik still causing problems, disrupting people. It's like walking on hot coals trying to play around a Junkrat.
And instead of actually force them off the point, just brute force them, a man go onto the point. Harry Hook to actually pull them off on this high ground, allows Tailspin and Timer to combo down. His uncle's going to take Tailspin down as he flies into the camera, but the point's already been 1/3 of the way taken.
Yeah, that's right. Taimu's sending up on that point there as well. Unko trying to contest, and we know what he can do even on the Zenyatta. Yes, maybe mobility not great, maybe health pool isn't great, but the damage is there, and that's exactly what Unco wants. Still, early first point take here for EnVyUs. Didn't take much time at all, and now they're knocking on the gates of the main temple here. So Rogue get dashed aside on their first offensive attempt, and now they need to shore things up here. Need to barricade the door in and stop EnVyUs from getting up too close, but it's not going to happen here as well. Already pushing on towards the point.
Yeah, Tvik's actually still keeping this junk here. AKM's finally able to make something happen, taking on time move. He's got so many more men to find before they can actually lock down this point, as that's going to be reinforced now falling. The Riptire's finally going to come out to Tvik, and he's looking for a couple of kills. They don't really have the speed boost to get away from this one, but Hope picks up two. He takes the tire down, and that's Tailspin going off.
All the ults coming at just the right time here for EnVyUs. Even Tailspin now gets himself the Dragon Blade, and no one from Rogue is left to stand on the point. EnVyUs come out of the gate, and they take Rogue, and they throw him into the wall. Thanks for coming. A very quick attacking half there for EnVyUs. That is frightening.
Did you see what Reinforced did there at the end? I think that's a little bit of pressure. He actually charged into the wall and did get on point. He actually could have contested it for his team.
It's kind of a good metaphor for Rogue in that round though as well, just banging their head against the brick wall. It was EnVyUs just washing over them there.
It's a shame to see that happen too, because he would have contested it, but it's maybe just a little bit of, the pressure that's on his shoulders. He's one of the, if you look at in terms of long-term competitive play, he's probably he is the newest person on the team. He is the youngest one by default at 20 years of age, but he doesn't have much experience behind him playing on a stage. Usually he's behind the stage in production and observing. I used to actually do it with them in Heroes of the Storm. But I think just a little bit of jitters. Give him some time and it'll be good to go.
Now, we've seen a bit of Rogue on this map, actually, and they've been all right. If you think back to the qualifiers for the Overwatch Open, they played in 2 consecutive weeks up against Anox, which is a CIS mixed team, of course, has your old favorites like your Cypher and Cooler. The first time that Anox picked this map against Rogue, they smashed them. And the next week, Rogue came back and actually beat them quite convincingly here as well. So they learned a lot of lessons playing up against that team. But against EnVyUs, if they're going to learn their lessons, they're going to have to learn them very, very quickly, because already EnVyUs have such a massive amount of time left in the bank. So Rogue need to match this, and if they don't, they're going to start falling behind very quickly.
Yeah, both teams with identical comps too, using the Genji Tracer to be aggressive with on both sides. So EnVyUs, what this is going to say to them is they're going to want to force the fight. You see both supports sitting on the high ground as well, most importantly, because obviously Harriot can still heal AoE-wise from the high ground, and Chips can do some really good damage without being actually pushed on. It forces Tvik to be extra aggressive, and that distance he has to cover allows Chips to get a couple of extra shots off, which ideally will spell the demise of Tvik.
So you can see Internet Hulk standing up on that little flower box, and Timer was next to him, so they're ready to come in from behind if Rogue don't check those upper corners here. Rogue, this time, like you said, coming out with the Genji Tracer. EnVyUs had the Tracer as well, so defensive Tracer for Timer was hoping to be annoying, frustrating, and getting the backline here. But Rogue, again, it's been a blistering time set by EnVyUs on their attack, and they don't have any time to waste at all. Tvik, first of all, information. He's going to go forward. He didn't look behind him, though. That's where, of course, the tank and Timer was waiting there. But AKM gets on towards the point here. Tailspin opens up well. And Internet Hulk springing forth from his hiding place just above the entrance is going to get on towards Unco here. Rogue are going to get crushed on this first push.
Yeah, well done, actually, by EnVyUs there to just kind of play around, I guess, the caucus out of Rogue. You saw Tvik, he charged straight through, right? He went straight for Chips high, and problem was, once he got to the high ground, Chips just fell, and the rest of his team was there to protect him. Just a little bit of overextension, and the rest of the backline of Rogue just got completely caught off guard. But they're going for the attack again. Team EnVyUs trying to go for the defense here. They do have, obviously, ult advantage. Tailspin at 66% on his ult already. And that Dragon Blade can easily turn the tides of the fight.
So Rogue get themselves onto the point at the very least, but there's still some fighting that has to be done here. AKM goes forward. He actually gets on towards Harry Hook. Wins is going to fall down. That's the response coming out from Timer here. The Pulse Bomb coming out, and AKM may have one fourth coming in a moment himself. He lands it onto no one in particular there, but at least he picks off Timer out in the distance, but he's lost his teammates. He's running out of support on this point. All he can really do now is trying to dash and dive around, stay alive, play for time, and there's Tvik with the Dragon Blade as well. That's exactly what AKM needed. Reinforcements in the form of Tvik and Genji will take that happily.
It's still scrappy though, right? It wasn't necessarily the clean take that we saw EnVyUs go for, but it was a take nonetheless, and it comes down to the transition from that first point hold in towards second. You saw the way Rogue held it was they kept the Junkrat, because they had Riptire, and he wanted to actually use it somehow in this defense, not to mention the spam you can lay down in multiple different angles. But EnVyUs have been forced to switch, Taimu onto the Reaper now instead of this Tracer. Puts him really far behind on 0%, but makes him such a beast to deal with in this close-range quarter combat.
Well, Sound Barrier comes out here from Rogue without further ado, and Tvik already gets himself right towards the back of the map here. He may have gone a little bit too deep, and now with the Transcendence ticking, he needs to try and get airborne, but he's being sucked in. Graviton Surge coming out here as well. Oh, Tvik reflects the shot back on towards Coco. Not too bad at all. He prevented a lot of damage going down on towards his team, and now Rogue have a chance to try and hold this point, but the Death Blossom comes through. It's Taimu with with 3, and that'll be EnVyUs to put their foot down and send Rogue back to spawn.
Now that's given EnVyUs a time advantage as well. So they're already actually in the lead, technically with 2-1 scoreline, but they have an extra minute at the moment, which should extend to maybe a little bit more if they can just defend yet again. They still have the sound barrier on a Harry Hook. Aaron Hook still just playing the sneaky ninja scientist. I don't know exactly how we should call this one, off to the side, just to kind of catch him off guard maybe. But this is all on wins. He's got Graviton Surge, they got the post bomb, they have the combo to make this work. They just need to land all the pieces to the puzzle.
Internet Hulk's waiting off in the wings for a chance to come in here to the fight, but while he was doing that, Wins and Unco get kills themselves. Wins finally falls down, but Unco gets his second. Now it's Vic going for the Dragon Blade here. Potentially an opening for Rogue. It's going to be Coco to fall down. To fix it again, he's found more to kill. It's Internet Hulk swinging his arms. They're in primal rage form. Yes, he's delaying this one out, but the rest of EnVyUs have been cut down one by one. Now Tracer moving up on towards the point. It's Tailspin trying to keep it alive, and AKM gets taken down by Taimu, who's coming in from the side. It's EnVyUs coming back in drips and drabs, but for now, it's enough.
Yeah, and with, not to mention, Nox going down and then picking up a couple of kills towards the end. They're actually going to repel them. They're going to hold Rogue back. This team EnVyUs do have that respawn, that defender's advantage. Taimu again getting close to his Death Blossom. Chips high end about to have that Transcendence. Even Tailspin about to have that post bomb. You know, you curve Inner Hulk. I mean, it doesn't feel really rewarding just to know you're gonna die swinging your arms on the Primal Rage, but he bought the time for the respawns, and that's exactly what they needed to hold on.
Timing messed up that teleport there. I think he was trying to go up on towards the platform there. Now, Internet Hulk gets spotted out, but AKM's got bigger fish to fry. He's gonna throw the pulse bomb in the middle. Doesn't catch on to anyone at all there. Transcendence being used up on towards the point, and AKM's gonna keep himself scarce around the sides. The Sound Barrier comes in and again. Somehow Taimu has another Death Blossom ready, but he gets nothing for it there as well. There are so many defensive ults used by Rogue to keep themselves healthy in that situation, keeping him topped up. To Vic trying to do the opposite to EnVyUs there, coming in with a Dragon Blade, finding Tailspin, and gets Taimu. 2 key targets going down to Vic, a key part of Rogue here that need to keep this fight going, but Rogue need to clean EnVyUs off quickly and take this point.
They haven't taken one single checkpoint though. Even with the Graviton Surge will solidify enough kills coming through, but now Taimu's going to respawn back on. Even Internet Hulk is going to be here. Are we going to see maybe a May come out just to drag this out, take every second you possibly can off of Rogue?
That precious seconds there for Taimu as he Wraith walks on towards the point, but a Sound Barrier comes down for Rogue. They want to hold it, they've got it in their grasp, but they need to finish things off now. EnVyUs are too far in front as it is. To Vic there, at least managed to take down Coco's Meki, coming back in on that Diva to try and stall this point out. At this stage, it's all EnVyUs can afford to do. Make it a longer process, and they do, but Rogue very close to taking it now as well. Contested, it's Internet Hulk jumping up in the air. He's picked down. Chips high and switched to the Soldier 76 just so he could run back and reinforce as quickly as he could. The May pick comes out there as well, buying some good time for Taimu. And still, this point is in stasis. Somehow EnVyUs are putting one after one on the point and then making this costly for Rogue.
And Hulk's the last man alive though. It comes down to him just to stay alive. He doesn't even have this Primal Rage anymore. He's gonna fall. And finally Rogue, a little bit too much time taken, do finish the second point off with 3:52 left in that time bank. It's not a bad start. I mean, obviously finishing against the best team in the world is not bad, but that time difference is so huge.
EnVyUs, yes, well, you're right. They can bleed. They can be pressured, I guess, in some of these cases, but to finish both stages in, what, under 2 minutes is an incredible feat for EnVyUs, or perhaps not so remarkable for them if you ask them, but still, it puts Rogue under an immense amount of pressure. They have under 4 minutes remaining here, so half the time in their bank as EnVyUs has. Even if you're not Team EnVyUs, it takes a big mistake from how far they're leading by to lose the match from here.
Yeah, I hands down agree. I think Rogue, they need to finish with obviously not going into overtime into the next attack. We can probably safely assume it's going to take them more than 1:50 just based off their first performance on the attack. So they need that extra 2-minute buffer at a time to actually have a decent chance going to the third round, assuming we get there. EnVyUs still on the attack. They're sticking with what worked the first time. They go on the Winston, they go on the Tracer, the Genji, and I'm assuming they're going to attack the same way. They're going to send Taimu onto point to try to pull some people through. If that doesn't work, Harry Hook will do that, and he'll just sit on point, healing everyone from the side, while Rogue either will obviously attack the 5 people left on EnVyUs or go back and defend.
So Rogue brings Vic here. They're kind of sticking with what didn't work on their defense, if I'm honest. So perhaps a bit of a risk here as well. I mean, obviously, we don't really see him play too much Tracer in general. Not really a commonly seen thing now, but look at Taimu already going straight on in here. And look, he's found Unco. He wants to try and harass down the Zenyatta as quickly as he can. He's in a good spot to do it there as well. But Vic comes in and gets the double. He gets on towards Taimu and Tailspin. The Junkrat really doing some work here, and he should be able to keep Rogue safe for the time being.
The biggest counter to Junkrat is just going to be movement. It's going to be speed of the team.
Yeah.
Yeah, and when you have a Trace and you have a Genji who can easily just dance around you, it's almost impossible to kill them unless you get them into a tight area, which we saw Team EnVyUs kind of fall for. So honestly, credit to Tvik to kind of play this one out, and credit to his team to allow him to actually make those plays happen. It's not really easy at all to play Junkrat against the best team in the world, but let alone these two different heroes.
Anything that can really get up in your face, threatens you heavily is Junkrat here. Internet Hulk hoping to do something similar, but he took so much damage coming into the start of that fight. Now the sound barrier comes in, and Rogue want to make a bit of a fight of their own. AKM starts off nicely. Tailspin falls there to the Peacemaker of McCree, and Tvik coming back in from the side. He has his Riptide, but he's not in a position to use it. But it's fine, because Unko's dealing damage. Tvik lands that one towards Chips High, and that was a remote mine thrown, and he catches him in midair. That'll be another hold here for Rogue.
Just like that, actually. On last attack, EnVyUs already finished the 2 points at this rate. They've been able to buy the 2 minutes of time to get something going, but Ultimate's on their side. A Tailspin, I still say, like, a Dragon Blade is like one of the most influential ultimates. It's not the playmaker in terms of setting up a play, it's the one that actually like cuts things down. It actually locks things in into place. But Koko's using the Graviton Surge on the high ground to lock them down. Tailspin towards the back, just trying to stall for some time. He's still waiting on his Dragon Blade though for people to get low.
Internet Hulk a long way away from the rest of Rogue here as EnVyUs set up on the point, but that's just what Rogue wanted here. We're going to see the Graviton Surge come down, and AKM gets himself a quick double off the back of it there. It wasn't Deadeye used there, and he does die as a result, but still may be worth it. But Internet Hulk hunting the squishier targets, or maybe not squishy if you're talking about wins and reinforce, but there, he's now looking towards Zenyatta. He wants to take care of Unko, who always seems to get these extra kills that he shouldn't, or has no business getting. But now Taimu as well, harassing while Internet Hulk tries to stay alive in the back there as well. Reinforce don't charge into that wall, mate. He's caught around the side. He's essentially trapped on his own though here, and he's eventually going to have to fall down. It's a valiant hold by Rogue that makes some time up, but EnVyUs eventually have their point.
Yeah, and Reinforce, he had Earth Shatter there. You saw him trying to pop it down when he got picked off. That could have been huge, actually. It would have bought some time, as you still see Rogue just backing away from that entrance because they wanted to reinforce that actual first point. But now they have to do it with pretty much just an Earth Shatter, and that's going to be it. That's going to be a Sound Barrier coming in to help them stay alive, and AKM's going to pick up a kill for his team, and EnVyUs actually falling 1 by 1. This is going to be really bad for them on this second attack. Momentum of securing that first point will fall.
Yeah, and it's funny, the momentum almost seemed like it worked against EnVyUs there. They came careening through the front door, but there's no real rhyme or reason to their setup on that point, and Rogue were able to repel them fairly comfortably. So, ultimate-wise, we see Reinforce does have that Earth Shatter available. Bear in mind that EnVyUs aren't playing with a Reinhardt here. They're fancying the engaged potential and mobility of Internet Hulk's Winston, so they don't really have that Earth Shatter available to them at any stage, although the Graviton Surge Pulse Bomb combo would be deadly. Internet Hulk doesn't give a damn. He's going straight into the backside here as well. He's opened things up. He's created space for the rest of EnVyUs to follow up and get in onto the point and start doing some damage.
Exactly. Pushed him into that corridor where they could do some really good damage. The problem is he's now fallen, and the backup just wasn't really there. Taimu didn't have the damage he needed. Tailspin as well, able to get his Dragon Blade up, yes. But he wasn't there for the fight. He didn't get any dash resets, and they're not able to take the point on this attack, but they built up some good presence. Koko's gonna have his Graviton Surge. Tailspin, he still has potential to use his Dragon Blade. I'm not really sure why Herrick did go for that ultimate, that Sound Barrier, because most of his team was already dead.
Yeah, a bit of a miscommunication perhaps, because it looked like Tailspin was content just sitting at medium to longer range, throwing shurikens and just trying to chip damage away. And then it's almost like he went in on wins with an Orb of Harmony. Not an easy target to kill, of course, that Zarya getting healing every second. But perhaps he was thinking the rest of EnVyUs wanted to go in. A snap decision, maybe not quite working out. And EnVyUs now, their time bank goes below Rogue's here. So credit to Rogue for holding them back for so long now. EnVyUs would like to finish within the next minute at the very least here. Next couple pushes will be absolutely crucial.
Oh, Tailspin, you can see he's got aggressive. He actually did use Dragon Blade in that last fight.
Yeah,
the Sound Break came out at a hairy hook, but miscommunication, I guess, within the team. But nonetheless, he picks up wins. Tvik still on this Junkrat, though, is not being dealt with, and he's still able to pick up kills, but most importantly, spread out a lot of damage across EnVyUs.
So, if EnVyUs fail to take this point, and Rogue obviously go forward and get the next two, they will win the map. If Rogue gets only 1 point in the next round, it would be 3-3. I believe Lijiang Tower is the tiebreaker for this. We go to a best of 3 instead of a best of 5.
Nepal.
Oh, God,
yep,
okay.
Nepal's actually the tiebreaker.
So it's a Nepal best of 3. So a shortened King of the Hill series to decide the winner of this map so we can avoid flipping coins and other things like that.
But next attack coming out of EnVyUs, actually popping the Transcendence right away, just thinking of a clean push into the point. Internet Hulk does have Promo Rage available, and Tailspin's gonna be taken down by Reinforce. He was so close to having his Dragon Blade, which could have been the turning point of this fight, but somehow Rogue have done it again.
Yep, they're gonna hold them back in time, and all he can do is to zip away with dismay as the rest of EnVyUs are being deconstructed up on the point here. For some reason, Chips High must have been caught out there, and Reinforce actually goes down to him. Wins picks up Internet Hulk though, and Taimu's not really done yet. He wants to keep ducking in, see if he can find maybe a pick off. off, but now he will have to wait and be patient for the rest of EnVyUs to rock up. But there's less than 2 minutes left here, and now Tvik, of course, still causing so many problems here. See, back on that, Junkrat has a Riptire as well. Great for disrupting EnVyUs, catching them off guard potentially as they come in. Interested to see if we really see that come out here.
Most importantly, Rogue have more than enough ultimates to defend another attack. I think EnVyUs are going to try to maybe rush this one to force that Graviton Surge, because once that's gone, they have a good chance of taking it in the fight after. The problem is they've already lost time to Unco. Nox is going to take down Coco, and there's no use for Rogue to use a single ultimate.
Rogue support's going absolutely ham right now, and they still keep those ultimates up here. EnVyUs just running into a brick wall here, even worse than Rogue did earlier on. Rogue back up on towards the point. They're going to set up here for a moment and have 3, 4 ultimates to work with here. I mean, as a panic button, Graviton Surge is pretty darn effective. And EnVyUs, a moment to deliberate. Tailspin switching over towards the Reaper here. A bit of extra muscle, but a little bit of extra damage getting across the line here. But EnVyUs don't have the time to sit and, you know, draw up battle plans. It's go, go, go now or never. And they are going to go around this right side.
Not to mention, if they're going to want to have a chance coming to the second or the third round, they need to take this point before overtime ticks away. There's the Riptire coming through, but they don't need it. AKM picks up a double kill.
Riptire.
And now we're guaranteed to have a minimum of an overtime here for Team EnVyUs, so no extra 2 minutes on the clock.
2 ultimates that ignore, of course, the Transcendence, the Deadeye, and the Riptire, and Rogue stand tall. For now, only 30 seconds left, and EnVyUs have managed to draw a couple of ultimates out of Rogue. It is unlikely that they're going to be able to get things done here. But still, I believe they still get overtime at this stage, as they haven't used it earlier on.
They switched, though. Look at Coco. He's going to be on the Reinhardt. So he's in the last attack. He's here yet again. So they're switching away from the Winston in that quick, aggressive play. They got Tailspin even on Reaper from the last attack, and Time is still sitting on the Tracer. They have a much different composition because they realize they need to do it. The problem is, Yorshar's going to be coming in, and Rogue still have a lot of ultimates to fight with.
That's right, Time well with the pulse bomb. It's not going to quite connect. He's looking for Tvik, but he can't get the shots on him. Tvik making himself very scarce, jumping around the corner, and of course it's Unco coming out with the orbs. He loves to get aggressive and get involved in those fights. Into that Hulk, jumping around, trying to rile up the natives and rattle a few cages, but it isn't going to be enough. Overtime's going to tick down, and Rogue should hold here, and they do. No one can re-trigger it. Excellent stuff from Rogue after a very shaky start.
And now for Rogue, a win is in their sight here, Mitch. 352 is more than enough time to finish off this map. It all comes down to the transition from that first point to the second. They have to have a very clean transition with an ultimate 2 on their side, at least in terms of an advantage. We could see potentially Rogue taking the first map up against EnVyUs. And one thing we really haven't pointed out too much is the fact that Tvik used to be on Team EnVyUs.
Yes.
He used to be on this team with Taimu originally, then Taimu got dropped out, and then we saw them pick up Mendokusai, who's, I believe, now currently teamless. But this is his old team. This is, I guess, now his rivals. This is a big personal victory for him if they can pull this off.
EnVyUs failing to try the whole shuttle the Reaper into the enemy backline strat there. You saw, obviously, Coco switching over towards the Reinhardt and into the Hulk on the Winston. Tailspin wasn't able to get into the mix there as well. That was kind of all that was left in the playbook for EnVyUs at the end of that round. Squad, there's so many minutes here. I mean, congrats to Rogue, but it's not done yet, of course. They still need to get this first point. So secure the draw and take it to the tiebreaker, get onto the first point. They want the map. You're going to have to get it all done in under 4 minutes, and that is very, very hard as well, especially up against EnVyUs. But it's within the realm of possibility, and that's what we'd like to sort of harp on a little bit here in Overwatch.
Rogue it definitely is. I mean, it's definitely possible. I mean, yeah, Team EnVyUs is the best team in the world, but all it takes is one slight mess up, one slight mistake that can allow Rogue to get back into this and actually take a 1-0 lead in this best of 5. It's no longer best of 3s, guys. The semifinals and finals are all going to be best of 5. And Unco towards the back, trying to lay down some siege damage.
Yeah, Reinforce going down very, very low, very early. And AKM actually falls to the melee attack of Harry Hook there. Just a slap to the back of the head and see you later. Intena Hulk also responding well on towards Tvik. He is definitely going to be on Genji juicy in this game. Hard for Genji to deal, of course, with Winston in a lot of those situations. It's a good start from EnVyUs. They obviously hold off that first push here. They'll have a few precious moments to set up their defense now while Rogue is waiting for Tvik to rejoin them here. And let's see if AKM can make the impact here on Tracer. So we normally see him on the McCree, but he's very, very good still. The Tracer.
Just so important if you're Rogue to take this point, just because the peace of mind it gives you to force a minimum of a tie is so nice to have as you go into potentially Nepal. But Tvik's to take down Tailspin, so starting to look good, but Time was finally able to take down Unco. That's a support now gone. And Tvik's going to chase down by Internet Hulk. He's just trying to run away up the wall. Prince of Persia won't work out for you, and he will fall.
Yeah, again, Tvik having to deal with the Winston is a very, very hard thing to do. Internet Hulk making the correct decisions. He's singling out the Genji, and he's making a beeline for him as soon as he approaches over towards the point. And again, it's no degree of acrobatics that's going to save you from the Tesla cannon. So now reinforcements coming back in for Rogue. The respawns of Nox and Wins still staggering their push out, but AKM wants to push in ahead, and Tvik still persisting with this Genji. Doesn't fancy a Reaper in this case, and of course McCree far less often seen on this map.
Oh, post one coming through. I think that was that Internet Hulk actually running away from that one? But either way, that's going to be Tailspin finally picking up a kill at Internet Hulk as well. Tvik on towards the high ground is just looking on in dismay, realizing he can't do anything when this Transcendence is ticking. He's going to be forced back yet again. Ships is going to pick up the kill. And now with 2 minutes left, Rogue still need this first point to draw it into a tie at a minimum.
So obviously for Rogue, it was in sight. I mean, they're probably feeling pretty good about the chance to force a draw here. But they still need to capture this first point. If EnVyUs stop them from getting even that far, they're going to win the map. Such a small margin of error here for Rogue, and they drop under 2 minutes, and now Coco coming in as well. Graviton Surge does connect. Now there is a Transcendence up in that fight there as well, so Rogue not too concerned about dying in the immediate future, and they've got a few ultimates to respond with of themselves. Wins gets himself a double, and then comes the Graviton Surge after the fact. That's all Rogue need now to slash away at these kills, and Tvik, of course, making good use of that ultimate to play on towards that fight, and EnVyUs will lose his first point now, and Rogue, they have at least the draw secured.
All right, so a minute and 20 left, about a minute and 10 before they do get to this next point. And Rogue have no ultimates. You can see what what this point meant to them. It was just getting it alone, throwing every ultimate they had available to make sure to lock this one down. That was their main goal. Now this is just extra. This is just dessert on top of the meal.
Oh, not bad though. AKM looking to try and single out Chips high in there as well, and he does go down. Good little start here. No Zenyatta on the field at all for EnVyUs, and Nox finds Tailspin. 2 crucial targets off the map. Reinforced getting in, wasting no time. Hands getting dirty. Internet Hulk falls down, and Tvik takes down Coco here. Rogue is sitting on the point. They've almost got that first third of capture progress here, and now it's going to be a death duel between the 2 Tracers, and AKM has to recall out of this one, but a Pulse Bomb could be deadly in this situation as well. He's again found Chips high, and he has to suffer, of course, the Discord Orb, but he's going to be able to stay alive. In the meantime now, it is full storm mode for EnVyUs, trying to stay in this.
And Tailspin's just not dying on this team. He's finally going to get desuited by Tvik, who's just slashing away. AKM trying to throw that Pulse Bomb in the right direction. It's going to connect with some damage, and Rogue might have done it. There's only Harry and Coco left.
They've got it. EnVyUs now have to spring back on towards this point. Guess they spawn close here, but it's still ticking up now. We see a Tracer off to the outside. No! It's Rogue! They take the first map away! EnVyUs thought they had it. It took them 2 minutes to get the first attack completed, but Rogue, they rose to the challenge. They stood tall, and Taimu couldn't even sneak onto the point on that Tracer in the end there. Stony silence reigns over the EnVyUs camp. This is not what they expected going into this match.
All right, so Rogue, they have to be happy with that one. I mean, the thing is, they even look happy. I think Reinforce is probably the only one smiling on the team because they realize it's just the first map in a best of 5. There's still so many more to come, and not to mention now EnVyUs get to choose the map that we're going into. And keep in mind, this is a different map pool than what we had before. We've got Temple of Anubis, which we just saw played. We have Hanamura, we've got Dorado, Route 66, Hollywood finally coming into the map pool here. Kings Row, Ilios, and Lijiang Tower.
Speaking to Rogue earlier on today as well, they themselves were quite bemused at many people tipping the North American teams to be the real strength here at the Atlantic Showdown, but it doesn't seem to be the case now, getting towards the pointy end of things. Although Fnatic are still in the running, of course. EnVyUs, I don't know, very, very, very quiet here as well. They said they were coming in with confidence, but they're going to have to find, maybe just dig a little bit deeper and find their next approach here. The next map pick will be theirs, but in the meantime, let's pass it over to the desk to give us a bit more info on how that one played out.
Thank you so much, guys. Yeah, what a way of starting off those semifinals. Rogue taking it with an incredible boss bomb right there at the end. So let's talk about it. Actually, the first talking point I want to bring out with you guys is the different team composition we're having. You had a lot of thoughts on that.
Yeah, that's right. We did see Rogue stick with the, with the Reinhardt. Reinforce, of course, really well known for his Reinhardt play, and he stuck with it on both attack and on defense. Over on the other side, we actually saw EnVyUs rarely brought out, in fact, they didn't bring out a Reinhardt until the last possible second when they were stumped time and time and time again by Tvik's switch to Junkrat. So what we saw from the EnVyUs side was actually this composition that was totally built around collapsing on the Rogue team. They had Zarya, Winston, Tracer, Genji on defense, and on attack, very similar compositions, sometimes throwing in a Reaper. So their composition was really built around collapsing rather than staying behind a Reinhardt shield. Biggest difference, I think.
All right, we actually have that lovely last play, that Tracer magic, just for you coming up now, and I just
This is the Tracer bomb of the century. I've never seen a Tracer bomb like this in all of the Overwatch that I've watched, and that's a lot.
I've definitely seen a Tracer bomb like this.
I don't think so.
AKM was able to fight so many people without dying. He takes down Taimu, wins the Tracer battles. He was just alive this entire fight, got the important first picks, and as Winston jumped into the air, he knew where he would land with the Discord on him too, and is able to finish him off that way.
Yeah, absolutely crazy. And another thing I definitely want to call out was Tavic's switch onto Junkrat. You know, when we did see EnVy attack first, they were able to blow through Rogue's defense on the first point of Anubis, but once Tivic switched to that Junkrat, they slowed down this composition that was built about just pushing right in. Of course, Junkrat is great at just laying the traps, laying the bombs down, stopping that kind of play.
On the other hand, I want to commend EnVyUs. I mean, obviously they lost. That's the big story here, and that's not a great story for them so far. But at the same time, they've done a great job at stalling. That was the big thing. Like, they lost the point for like 2 minutes maybe or something, and they just constantly stalled out. It was an amazing job.
The stall was incredible. It reminds me back in the day when we had no hero limits, we actually had divas coming one after another. They had Mei come out. They had her freeze in the corner. She put up a wall. Then they had another person come out. Winston came out with his ultimate. There was one more. Trickle. And that stalled so long. It was really incredible to see.
The shift.
Yeah, that's really what started it.
Yeah, well, we now want to talk about the next map coming up. It's going to be King's Row, and Rogue is going to be defending. You guys think they can just put that energy they just had out there and win the second one as well, or is it a very unlikely scenario?
I think they were going to have a slow start. They obviously did have a slow start. I said it was going to be 3-1 or 3-2. I still think it's going to be 3-1 or 3-2. And I still think EnVyUs is going to win, and we see it in their pick. They don't want those curveballs. They don't want that high variance. They're going to go back to King's Row, a map that's been in the map pool since beta. Everybody's practiced a lot. I think EnVyUs are going to come into this game, and they're coming strong, and they're going to take it back, tie it back up 1-1.
We've had a lot of huge upsets during this tournament for sure. I think Rogue have the potential to do this. It's going to be a hard path up there, but AKM today has been playing on an incredible level. He carried so much as Tracer there, and Tavik has always been very consistent, really good play on that Junkrat. I think they have the potential to do it here, and I more than anything want to see him do it.
What are you going to call?
I quickly just want to call out that at the beginning of the semifinal, I was the only one having faith, and now all of a sudden you're going for like, they have the potential of doing this.
Flip-floppers.
Some faith.
No, you
Flip-floppers.
didn't. No.
I said it would be hard. It was hard. It was hard.
These vague
The
answers.
series isn't over just yet.
Fair enough. Well, it's not going to be easy for either of those teams because both want to take this, both want to be the Overwatch Atlantic Showdown champion, and rightfully so. So let's see how the second map on King's Row is going to pan out, and for that we're heading over to our casters.
King's Row, Jason, about as standard gets.
And what's next is probably going to be Hollywood, just to keep it even more standard, right? Template was our curveball. This map, this is going to be interesting because obviously we did have EnVyUs choose it, but we had the winners of the first map, Rogue, choose defense first. And we saw some unfortunate play out of Reinforce. It wasn't necessarily even his fault in the last match they played yesterday where he got earth-shattered under, well, it wasn't even under his shield.
Oh, he jumped, didn't he?
Yeah, it wasn't even the jump. Actually, I asked him after, and he said it was because he was earth-shattering as well. And it was hoping for Flashbang to come out of AKM. That's something that's going to be in the back of his head. I know he's the kind of player that maybe dwells on things like that, and he's going to have a stellar performance on his Reinhardt here. I'm assuming we're going to be seeing a Junkrat again at Tavik on defense. It wasn't actually bad on Temple of Anubis. The first attacking round or defending round for them, it didn't work really at all because they bypassed it all. But the second round, it did work.
The thing is, when you see a Junkrat come into a lot of these games, it's less how you play around it, and it's more how the Junkrat player plays around the fact that he's Junkrat and obviously keeps himself safe from anyone trying to close the gap and take him out quickly here. So we may well see it coming out from Rogue. Again, going to be on that Reaper, who, again, has been another power pick for him over the last few days, last few series, as it were. I wouldn't exactly call this an entirely surprising lineup coming out here from Rogue as well. And EnVyUs, Coco always locks in Bastion to start with. I don't think we'll see that come out here, but the potential for a Hanzo, we've seen that a couple times here. Rogue, of course, will go that way, and we did see Reunited as well.
So Rogue actually did use it with Tavik. He tried to attack with it and got some great headshots. The way EnVyUs used it was Taimu. He shoots off a Sonic Arrow to the right-hand side after a couple seconds have gone by, just to see if there's anyone flanking so they can take that position and not fail that first attack. So I'm assuming they're going to be in the same route here, but going for something very standard. And the way EnVyUs attacked after the Hanzo was rush to the hotel and catch off the enemy team off guard, especially that back line. And you're going to have to see Rogue really respect that and maybe give some ground away to EnVyUs, let them get on the point, and then you force the attack.
10 seconds now remaining in this map number 2 here. Rogue have impressed. They've showed up, but will it be enough on a map like this that many teams have an understanding of? It is King's Row. It will be EnVyUs to start off here, and as you kind of expected, Taimu has that little higher position there. Some shots coming in here, just whatever damage he can sort of manage, and he does. Twice? Yes, he got 2 hits. I think it was Scatter as well.
Okay. Yeah, they do know there's a man inside the statue with the help of the Sonic Arrow, but he quickly gets away with the Wraith Form, and not to mention Coco's going to die immediately here as Wins picks up the kill, and now Rogue can push them back.
Yeah, you can see Rogue don't want to defend right back. They want to come forward here a little bit more, kind of the old way we saw defense teams play it off the back of Lucio's speed boost here, and somehow a couple of people getting picked off there when they really shouldn't. I think it was Taimu falling there to Nox in a weird little situation. So EnVyUs are going to have to approach this a little slower than they did before. They're being kept honest by Rogue, who are more than happy to step up ahead of that capture point and get some damage down.
I think EnVyUs, you saw a little bit of cockiness in them. They knew Tvik was there right on the Reaper. Instead of just bypassing him, going through the hotel to get around the back, they actually try to challenge out and kill him immediately. But they're rushing straight to point already, charging straight through. Unfortunately, not going to connect. And that's going to be Tvik picking up a kill again onto his counterpart Tailspin.
Yeah, perfect stuff from AKM there as well. Gets onto his internet Hulk, and Taimu has to, well, play a fighting retreat here as well. He's going to be forced right back into his spawn. And this is Rogue making a statement. They'd love to get in EnVyUs' head, make them realize that they are indeed mortal, and Rogue are going to be the authors of their destruction. Well, at least that's the plan for now. Reinforce does have his Earth Shatter available. There's a Transcendence Runco, so, you know, old advantage. We throw around that phrase quite a lot here, but Rogue have it for the moment. Let's see how they use it.
It's huge for between Hope and Coco. It's 70% difference. Earth Shatter come through. It's not going to connect, unfortunately, and that's going to be the Transcendence to provide them some cover, but that's going to be Taimu taking out AKM, who's been so detrimental, or so impactful, sorry, for Rogue in the victories they've been able to pull off so far in this entire tournament, and Taimu's still not being dealt with in the backside.
Rogue force a sound barrier there only onto a couple of people. Tvik tries to come forward with said sound barrier and get a Death Blossom off, but he's taken down quite quickly. Chips Hyan was the man who managed to get the damage in there quite easily, and Taimu again skirting around the outside of the statue here, but he's being forced back. Rogue just don't stop. They keep coming forward, and Taimu may have the Deadeye and try and use it here. The Reinforcer standing up in front. He had the shield available. Team EnVyUs can't waste any time here. The one pick they got on towards AKM has now been undone because he's returned back to the point. It's a full team of Rogue standing tall.
Not to mention, we should have some very high energy out of Wins here. About 80 energy now. They're going to spike up to 100 here. Coco is a little bit too deep. The Deadeye at AKM to the back won't get Earth Shatter down, but it doesn't matter. They don't need his Earth Shatter because the supports have picked up 2 kills.
And Coco tried to use one of his own there off towards the side, and AKM wasn't even affected by it. I think he was even trying to interrupt that Deadeye, but it just didn't connect. Taimu, though, at least can come in and find 2 quick kills and maybe a chance for Tailspin, but no, he's caught between a rock and a hard place. He tries to work out of the little hotel. He gets taken down. Now, Winston and Hulk forced to go for the Graviton Surge. It does work out fairly nicely now, and with Reinforce, one of the few left on the point, EnVyUs finally break through, and they'll capture, but that's taken them quite some time.
Yeah, a lot of time, and now obviously they need to have a quick transition from the first point to the second, especially through Death Alley. Tvik has switched. So they're going to get rid of the Reaper. They're going to be picking up a Genji instead. And Team EnVyUs going to be happy to just commit with what they have. Not to mention that Deadeye of Tailspin, if he gets around the back, if he's able to actually catch them off guard, if he goes for the teleport, then I don't know if Rogue can really deal with it. They're going to have a flashbang out of AKM, but he's going to be so focused on the front side that you can't depend on him to deal with it.
Reinforce again a long way ahead of his team, and that allows Tailspin to get into the backline there. Still nothing doing, though. The healing was too much for the side of Rogue here, and Tailspin doesn't even get 1 kill for that. Eventually the trade does come in, though, with Reinforce falling to Taimu, but Tailspin falling so early in the fight there for EnVyUs definitely hurts him, definitely going to force him to back away, and definitely going to give Rogue a chance to solidify on this position. Oh, the Graviton Surge comes through there. AKM gets 1 headshot. He's going to try and follow it up here on a Harry Hook, and Team EnVyUs are trying to get away, but they cannot back through the arch before Rogue cuts through them.
It's just such chaotic fighting. It's not like a quick engagement out of a team and then they get a complete wipe. It's just been both teams fighting back and forth with a lot of the ultimates. You saw Wins, particularly with the Graviton Surge, was allowing AKM to pick up these headshots. Tvik as well, about to have his Dragon Blade up, went from was basically 0% to 100% in 1 fight. And EnVyUs, they want to control the pace of the game, but you have to credit to Rogue to really slowing them down. This is what EnVyUs is not used to. They're not used to being held at really much anywhere, to be honest.
AKM gets 2 kills there as well. Taimu not able to get anything for his Deadeye. Now he's going to get fanned right on down. AKM with his 3rd kill of that little passage of play. There's no way Chips is getting out of that one alive. It's 3 sharp shots from AKM. And again, EnVyUs are sent packing.
4 minutes and 25 seconds, 2:30 left on the clock. Rogue, they did commit quite a few ultimates there, the Sound Barrier and the Deadeye, but they do have the Graviton Surge soon, they have the Dragon Blade, and they're going to have the Transcendence. So they have a pair of ultimates to defend again while Reinforce gets his Earth Shatter back up. So you kind of have to look for that. and Internet Hulk's going to be dependent on for a really good Graviton Surge, but the thing is, Chips is already so low in HP that forced the Sound Bear off the bat.
Graviton Surge coming in as well, but Tvik manages to avoid it. He now gets into the back line. He's looking for Taimu there as well. One reflected shot's not enough to deal with the McCree, and even with the Discord orb on him, it's not going to be easy to take him down. EnVyUs finally break through here as well, but time and time again, Rogue are holding him 3-4 fights long at some of these points.
Yeah, sub 2 minutes, 5 minutes into this next checkpoint. We will see Rogue have a chance to contest this one, and Nox will be able to get them there momentarily, and they have an Earthshine or Graviton Surge combo. EnVyUs somehow need to work around this, and Tailspin's going to be the man to watch on the high ground towards the right-hand side of your screen. If he's not spotted, he could go huge, and he could shut Rogue down here.
Tvik should at least check that one as well up on the high ground, and yeah, he does. Tailspin, though, finds him, though, with a Discord orb on him as well. That's going to be a very endangered Ninja, but now Tailspin forced to jump in and try and support the rest of his team here. Reinforced very, very deep. Doesn't get anything for it there as well. It's going to be a pretty straightforward Death Blossom off the back of that one. Tailspin gets himself 2, Taimu with 1, and there it is. EnVyUs now not being slowed down. They realize that they've squandered more than enough time for their liking.
See them even being extra aggressive here in the Foundry, just try to cut them off in the spawns. Maybe look for a pick. Sorry. If you get one, initial kill here, you have to have on the defending side wait for the respawns, which gives EnVyUs a lot of control, a lot of way through this S bend. And AKM's gonna be using that Deadeye, look for a kill, but even the speed boost isn't gonna be enough as they get around the corner. That's a good response though out of Harry Hook just to get them out of harm's way.
EnVyUs just don't want to be wiped or have to deal with a messy fight at this stage. They want to try and keep it clean. It's already been a fairly difficult round for them so far. Wins into the backline here, gets stunned up straight away, but the Transcendence to back it up for Rogue is going to keep those people. Dive in the backline, quite healthy. Tvik gets on towards Coco there as well. That's a Reinhardt is down. He's back in spawn. Be a few seconds before we see him again, and Tvik now starting to come online, coming alive. In fact, the reflection helps with the kill on towards Tailspin, and Rogue get the fight that we're looking for. They seem to be very, very good at engaging and executing these fights, and EnVyUs don't seem to know what to do about it.
And maybe it's going to come into a switch. Maybe when you see, I wanted to say a Roadhog, but even a Diva wouldn't be too bad here to mitigate a lot of the damage that's being done, because Wins is going to be on the Winston, which is providing a lot of extra cover. It's providing a lot of extra pressure to, the likes of Tailspin, to the likes of Taimu, and most importantly, Chips, who's been having a fantastic game so far.
Even with Tvik getting picked off quite early in this fight, Unko going big, gets himself 2 kills. Man, he's always so darn good at managing to feature on the scoreboard multiple times. That's an easier shot than AKM is going to be challenged by, and it will be Taimu falling. It's one shot to the chest, and it's good night. And now, look, they're more than happy to keep Harry Hook alive for a little while as long as they eventually kill him, and they do. Time ticking now, 7 minutes and 16 seconds into the round. Only 1 minute 42 for EnVyUs to finish this one. We've talked about it, EnVyUs. They've been made to bleed. We've seen that they perhaps can lose or potentially could lose one day. I don't know if anyone thought it would be today.
I didn't think so. I actually had EnVyUs pitted to win 3-0 in this entire series, but honestly, EnVyUs has such a great track record on this map alone. We'll get back to that in a second, though, as Tailspin does have his Death Blossom available. He's still looking off to the side. He's not even really forced into using it just yet because he's still doing so much damage.
Getting the meat shots down, a good start there, but Reinforced able to heal through a little bit of that one. He's still sitting at about half health, and EnVyUs, it's got to either be this push or next push. This one looks like a pretty good one so far, but AKM response there. The charge from Coco on towards Tvik. He's caught the Ninja in midair, and he's pinned him up against the wall. Not too shabby, but with the fight being won here, EnVyUs are still going to be caught by Rogue before the end, and that's why EnVyUs are trying to push forward now as well. Flood ahead and try and prevent Rogue from filtering out of their spawn for free.
Are we going to see some swaps, though? We're getting to that point where we potentially are going to need it coming out. Maybe the Maya for Tvik. Maybe even a Diva picked up somehow out of Wins, but AKM with the Deadeye, it's going to come down to him to kind of hold this one back. Not to mention Reinforced needs a good Earth Shutter off. The problem is he's been stuck into his own spawn. He doesn't have the ability to get there, and AKM is trying to do something from the back, but he's being forced away by Internet Hulk.
Yeah, Internet Hulk with a Primal Rage, and that's a perfect target to zone out. AKM can do nothing about this fight right now, and in the meantime, his opposite number, Taimu, he's having a whale of a time. It's going to be Chips to get 2 kills. That's Wins and Reinforced. Both takes down to the Zenyatta. That's just scary, and EnVyUs look like they've broken through here as well. It's been a tough run, no doubt about it, but 8 minutes and 44 seconds, they finally get the attacking side finished. But if you're Rogue, you're probably not too upset about that.
I wouldn't be at all. To push a team like this into 9 minutes is, well, 8:42, is no easy feat. Especially when EnVyUs are 41 wins, map wins, and 6 map losses on this over the course of their history.
41-6.
41-6. Pretty insane. I mean, that explains, right, well, they're 57-0, but 41-6 in this map is one of their best maps, actually. And I think, honestly, Rogue need to respect the initial defense at EnVyUs. It's going to be very tough to dismantle this, to kind of pick it apart piece by piece. Because EnVyUs are one of the few teams left, I think, in the world that can actually put up a full defense on the first point.
So if you're Rogue, then you don't go for the really aggressive push. You don't go through the hotel. You don't try and jump on them.
I think you do. The fact that EnVyUs gets away with this against teams and no one uses it against them kind of blows my mind. Like, just get Tvik on Reaper, speed boost him in, maybe give him a Zarya shield out from wins, and allow him to take down the back line. Like, that's all you really need to do, and then even if you lose that fight, you're going to have the respawn quicker for the next fight before they do.
I'm talking to Rogue this morning. They have absolutely no respect for the fact that EnVyUs have been undefeated for so long. They have absolutely no respect for the fact that everyone thinks they're going to come in and win this. And Unco, I don't know if it'd be an Ana, but it is at least a Junkrat for Tailspin here. This is something we thought that we'd see from Rogue on the defense here from Tvik. Wasn't the case, though. It's worked well for Tailspin so far this weekend.
So they want to go the Hanzo strat again. Okay. Well, we did see time to do it on the attack initially. It did net a couple of hits with the Scatter Arrow, but it wasn't enough to pick off anyone. Tvik, though, kind of, funny enough, he actually tries to focus on the tanks as well. He tries to take the shield down at Coco as soon as he possibly can. But again, the problem that comes into this is that, well, he's playing Hanzo. You're very immobile when you're trying to shoot. And that allows Tailspin to get some easy damage onto you.
Well, Tvik is going to open up with that Hanzo now as well. Remains to be seen whether he's going to switch. It is going to be the Ana. It's locked in here for Unco. He's going to play with that one at least for the time being here. That obviously means that we have this triple, just a double support, with AKM playing on the McCree here, of course, with Tvik playing Hanzo. It's not even a triple support comp.
And Tvik hit Taimu twice in a row with an arrow, but he got healed up just in the nick of time out of the speed boost heal out of Harry Hook, or the amp heal out of Harry Hook and Chips. That was really risky, because if he fell, then that would have been the first point taken immediately. But there's the net boost coming through. They're trying to use Reinforce to be really aggressive, even using the Biotic Grenade on top of just to give him extra healing, make it a little bit more viable for him. And Tvik will take down Tailspin already on the Reapers. He had to switch from that Hanzo.
We're trying to use the nano boost to break through for Rogue. So far, it's worked out okay, actually. Tvik is able to zone out Taimu completely. One more meat shot, and it'll be done. He gets Taimu. That's a big grudge match. The 1v1. It's going to be Tvik getting the win there, but still the rest of his team needs his help back on this point. Internet Hulk, he switched over towards the Reaper himself. No tank for the moment, and he's doing quite nicely. Again, Chips High-End featuring at the top of that list in terms of kills. Zenyatta, obviously quite squishy, can be easily endangered, but his positioning keeps him safe enough to do damage and take down those key targets.
And Unco's back at 80% on his ultimate. He just used that in the last fight. He's going to have it up again in this fight as well. And with the Biotic Grenade onto your team, it puts Lucio up to 150 health per second, which is basically the old Transcendence, just 50 HPS, a little bit lower. Tailspin using the Riptide just to buy some time. He's not really going to have a good chance of picking up any kills with this.
Maybe to get himself one. No, some free. Tvik managed to pick it up there as well. Maybe a bit of charge on Zarya's cannon, but not going to be the case. There's going to be Nano Boost coming in here as well. Earthshatter used by Reinforce. Again, not really connecting there. He's charged up against the wall, and again, they're just trying to pacify this Nano Boost of Reinhardt. Team EnVyUs, again, for the second time, do a very good job of shutting down that combo. And for Rogue, the question remains, do we have the time to try and go for this again? Do we have the time to try and get our Ana charged up to 100% and try and throw Reinforce in their faces?
They definitely do. I think the question comes down to, do they want to put on Reinforce again? Do they want to give it to Tvik maybe on the Reapers, because he's going to have Death Blossom available, give him the extra speed out of the Nano Boost and Nox on the Lucio, and he can go to town. He's got to dodge that flashbang.
But there is no Ana. It's been switched out. They do go towards the Zenyatta here as well, favoring the Transcendence in these fights, keep him a little bit healthier when the push starts to come to shove, I suppose. And Wins has Graviton Surgery, so a real opening here at the moment for Rogue, and not really connecting on to many people. I mean, sure, they catch Tailspin, but AKM picks him up easy enough there with a Deadeye, but still the fight working out in their favor. Unco gets Internet Hulk, and the Chips High-End's head goes rolling off. Taimu comes forward though, wins that duel, but Tvik's going to be there as well to make up for lost time, and it's Unco who actually gets the kill on that McCree, and it is Rogue. They take the point here, and they've still got plenty of time to finish this map quicker than EnVyUs.
Yeah, about 5 minutes, which is highly doable. It comes down to the momentum that you're going to build up. Coco's going to have an Earthshatter available, and they should ideally be able to have a very one-sided fight here, especially with Tvik this far pushed up. The barrier might be there for him, but he's going to be overrun by Tailspin, which will put it back to the drawing board. But most importantly, it gives EnVyUs control of this choke point if they want it.
Again, EnVyUs just back around this corner for the moment now. Rogue will be gathering themselves. We saw what they did on defense. They wanted to fight all the time, and the only thing better than a team that wants to fight is a team that's good at fighting and wants to fight, because then, of course, the execution is there as much as the intent is. But Time is hoping to come forward and get something with the Deadeye. Gets reinforced there as well. I think the first Deadeye shot did a lot of damage to him, and the Earthshatter comes down now as well. Coco backs away and allows the rest of EnVyUs to follow up on that one. And it is Time, who, of course, the cleaning crew, will be able to get the extra kills and stop Rogue in their tracks.
All right, so 3 minutes left. I mean, they have more than 3 minutes of time, technically, to win, but they need to capture the next checkpoint to make this possible. And we even see now Internet Hulk going from the Reaper over to D.Va. So really mitigating a lot of damage that Rogue can do. Maybe try to dismantle Unco a little bit, who's been actually, him and Chips Hyatt have both been doing phenomenal so far on this EnVyUs in terms of picking up kills. There's gonna be the death boss coming out to Vic, picks up 3 kills. That's huge as he came in from behind. He's looking for the 4th, but Wit's gonna be there to help out. And just like that, Rogue, we're gonna push the payload further.
Yep, EnVyUs try what Rogue did, but apparently Rogue just a little bit better. Get the fights going on, and it was Tailspin cut down so quickly as Vic ran on through as the Reaper Copter. Internet Hulk couldn't do a heck of a lot, but look on in dismay. No damage to be blocking there as well. It's forced out. So, Rogue now pressing forward, 4 minutes, or 4.5 minutes actually into this round. This payload is making its way towards the Foundry here. If EnVyUs want to push in and fight about now, it's probably going to be the last fight. If they lose this one, the payload is going to get to these doors. It's going to be done. The Graviton Surge coming in now as well. Tailspin not caught in that one. He can work in from the outside, but AKM takes down Taimu. Is he the better McCree? That's the big question. So far, so good. Tailspin tries to get the Death Blossom. Initially knocked away, then able to come back in on the fight, but Wince was able to stay alive through that to kill Internet Hulk, and now Tailspin being pressured heavily. Transcendence comes in, and look at him. You see his health is not even changing. So much healing coming in, but at the same time, Rogue had the sound barrier to keep them topped up.
Yeah, they committed the sound barrier to this one, which I don't know if it's actually going to work out. Tailspin's eventually going to follow to Vic. He picks up a double. That's going to be Zed going down as well. Internet Hulk's going to try to stall for some time while the rest of the team is going to be there. He has that self-destruct, but he hasn't used it just yet. He hasn't been able to throw it in. Even the sound barrier coming out of Harry Hook isn't going to be enough to stop Vic just spinning away in this blender, and that will be Rogue taking the second checkpoint.
Here it is, Rogue starting to build up ahead of steam. They get towards the Foundry now, and it's 1 phase left. 3 minutes in the game, and they can go up 2-0 against EnVyUs. This would be match point, of course. It's the best of 5. And Rogue already having done so much work. This was EnVyUs' map pick. They wanted to go to something standard. They want to go back to something normal because they believe that was where they had the upper hand, but perhaps it's not even the normal map that they can even beat Rogue on. Wince has a Graviton Surge ready to go. Again, he's waiting for decent positioning, but he's lost a lot of his team already. It's likely he'll just try and hang around. No, he goes for it anyway. He's got a good amount of charge here with a follow-up. Not perhaps as much there as he would have liked. It's AKM at least gets on towards Harry Hook.
Yeah, that Graviton Surge, I mean, with the energy he had was insane, but that's going to be Chips able to respond finally to Wins, but this momentum is continuing to go here. Vix able to take down Tailspin. Was that with the fire strike that came out of Coco? That could have been pretty much a team kill coming through. His time was just looking to back away. He's trying to sit behind these shields as Rogue is just hammering this one home. They're looking to push this one through.
EnVyUs, they might be on the ropes here. They're being forced back. The payload now as well as making it close towards the checkpoint. This time Reinforce is the one to block out an Earth Shatter. It's a massive ultimate now no longer available for EnVyUs. They wanted to use that to stop Rogue in their tracks, but now it's gone to waste. And now a chance for Rogue maybe to come forward, but Tailspin wants to get into the back lines. He's stunned up immediately, and Harry Hook comes forward. There's the Earth Shatter from Reinforce, but it's one shot to the gut, and he falls.
Yeah, that flash break came out a little bit early because Tailspin didn't even use the ultimate just yet. They wanted to pull off a proper disengage, but I don't think some people got the message. Reinforce was just a little bit too far pushed up. They eventually did fall. They have Dragon Blade though for Rogue, and EnVyUs are still looking to use Tailspin and the Death Blossom to hold them back. And actually curious where Tailspin's going because he's going to be so instrumental. He's going to be sitting on that corner yet again, but Vic already knows he's there, and there's the Dragon Blade being popped.
And going right for the back line as well. He's hoping to get onto Chips high, but Tailspin doing the same thing on the other side of the coin. Vic gets 2 in the back line. Internet Hulk finally takes him down, but it might not be enough. EnVyUs now only with 2 players left. They're trying to keep this payload back. We can see, of course, Internet Hulk jumping in. He's completely cut down instantly almost. And EnVyUs have to now stall. That's all they can do. It's about a minute, over a minute, in fact, for Rogue to fight this one through. It's looking very, very good for the upstarts, the challengers from EU, and EnVyUs now have to hang on.
There's the Earth Shatter coming through, connects on to quite a few people, but Win's about to have Graviton Surge, which could close out the fight entirely. Internet going to get pulled back into it. The Earth Shatter coming in from behind is not going to connect. There's just too many shields, and EnVyUs will hold. They will stop the run, and we have one final attack out of Rogue coming up.
A lot of big ultimates being burnt there from EnVyUs just to try and stay alive, and there's 1 minute remaining. If Rogue get the payload to the end of the map within that time, it will be 2-0. A score that no one thought they'd see today. Not in this match. No way.
Time it with Deadeye up. Tailspin getting close to that pulse bomb. The Internet Hulk's going to have that Primal Rage up as well. And Rogue have nothing to work with. They're hoping for the pulse bomb to Vic to come up, but the thing is, they're not going to have a Graviton Surge to work this one with. And time is being pushed up aggressively here to buy some more time. We're 34 seconds away. Rogue have to go now.
Yep, aggression coming out there from Timer. We know he needs to buy a bit of time, but Rogue are ready to come back on towards this one. Timer's sitting in the back, good little flash on towards Reinforce. He's caught in no man's land, and he's taken down. Unco can't deal with Tailspin, and out to Vic from a distance. He's trying to get some damage done. Not really the optimal range there for Tracer, and Tailspin comes alive. He has a pulse bomb, but he doesn't need it. He's going to keep that in his back pocket for a rainy day, and now Rogue may not have enough time to get it done. EnVyUs look to try and equalize the series.
And they will do just that. And I think even Rogue know this one. So EnVyUs, that was extremely close. That was almost to the point that we could have seen a 2-0 for Rogue? Like you said during the cast, no one probably would have expected it out there. I don't even think Rogue would have expected something like that. But that was way too close for comfort. EnVyUs, they have to feel good about that, but at the same time, they have to not be impressed at how their performance was.
So Rogue squandering some precious minutes at the start of their attack. They're persisting with this Ana and Reinhardt combination. They're hoping to break EnVyUs open with the nano boost when it did come in. Didn't really work out, safe to say.
Hasn't worked out either time they tried this. It wasn't the only time today that they've gone for this strategy. Reinforce just gets zoned, funny enough. He actually gets charged while he's using it because he gets very aggressive. He focuses. I think he tunnel visions a little bit on just trying to do some damage, which obviously you're going to want to do as a nano boosted Reinhardt. Problem is, he doesn't see the Reinhardt coming in from the side. He gets charged into the wall. They burst him down, and it nets absolutely nothing for them.
Well, 1-1 in this series as well. So far, it's delivering as promised. Let's pass over now to the desk and get their thoughts on how this one's gone so far.
Thank you very much. Yeah, what a game. That was a close match right there. And Rogue really managed to stall them for quite a bit when Rogue was on defend. I actually want to play about the first picks we saw from Rogue when they were on attack. We saw Ana and Hanzo, and I think one certain person here on the desk has a lot of thoughts
Every
about
time
that
Ana
Ana.
comes up, it's always like, what did you think? I was really disappointed because everyone's going to say Ana didn't work. They switched to Zen. They won. Zen Rabo's so good, but it's they kept Ana boosting the Reinhardt.
So salty.
And you can see that coming from a mile away. Every single time he got stunned, he got charged, he got put into a corner. I think Tavik on Reaper should have been getting those Ana boosts. He could actually get in there and get some damage. He's harder to pin down. He's harder to stop.
Yes.
And you build the Ana boost so fast, they had it within the first 30 seconds. I think putting it on the Reinhardt just wasted it.
And that's another point of contention that we were talking about during that match. Reinforce. I mean, you say that the nano boost was put on him and it was wasted. Are you saying that you don't feel like he's carrying his own weight or what?
I've been skeptical and I've been watching, not want to put someone under the bus, but I think Rogue could have won that game if Reinforce at the end hit his ult properly. He missed one of those, and we had him charge in for seemingly no reason, not get any kills, and immediately die.
If we're looking at the Reinforce's performance in general in this competition, I feel like the mind split there a lot. I heard a lot of people saying like Reinforce is the weak link from Rogue. If they want to win this, he has to get his stuff together. However, other people are saying like that's absolutely not the case. Who wants to take which
Absolutely.
stance?
I mean, we've seen Reinforce overextend quite a few times. It seems that in these clutch moments, he tries to jump out and be the hero for his team. On Anubis, he played incredibly well. For portions of this map, he played incredibly well as well. But towards the end there, you could see that maybe nerves got to him. Maybe it was just the pressure of the situation, but not some smart plays at the end.
You can say, though, that we're here. Rogue has taken a map off of EnVyUs.
Yes.
Has EnVyUs not been uncontested? So, I mean, even if you're saying this is the weak link, it's a minor problem. I think Rogue can fix it, and they're going to have to.
So speaking of weak links, and we're talking about EnVyUs, and they're faltering a little bit, I want to say, who's not carrying their weight on EnVyUs? And I think we can agree on this, me and you, Stir, that Tailspin. I mean, he's showing up on the kill field feed.
The kill field, yes.
No
a
reason
little
to go
bit.
with that one.
But at the same time, like especially coming off that last match with Buds, who's showing up consistently, I feel like in this match in particular, he's just not doing what he needs to do.
Tailspin's ultimates rarely got more than one person. They were always a little bit too late, a little bit out of position. And I wouldn't say that Reaper is a character that you would say Tailspin is a Reaper player.
No.
Definitely we've seen better this tournament, and Tailspin usually better on the projectile characters. He just wasn't doing enough for his team that he needed to.
You know, I'd rather tell the story of a player that's playing out of his mind right now, and that would be AKM. Oh my goodness, this guy has been going nuts all tournament long, but it seems like the further we go, the deeper we go into the tournament, the more pressure that mounts. AKM just does more and more and more, and he's been playing, of course, a lot of DPS players tend to play a lot of Tracer and a lot of McCree, but his McCree and Tracer have been insane.
We're gonna pop up the highlight right here, and you can see that's just overextension. He goes for a charge, especially against the McCree, gets stunned out, and as soon as he dies, you can see his team just falling apart. Without that Reinhardt shield, you just have nothing to offer. On the other hand, Coco, keeping his shield up, defending his members. I can't see it. I think Reinforce is a big weak link for so far. And I love the guy. It's hard, as we said, to hate on him because he's such a nice guy. He's definitely paid his dues in esports, and I love that, but he has to step it up and he needs to just be less aggressive. He's a great player mechanically. He just has to calm himself down and just plays super standard.
You have to wonder what the situation was there for him to even decide to do that. I know
26
time was
seconds.
short. They had to do something, but you have to do something together.
Yes.
You need to wait, and you need to figure it out.
There's no situation there where he helps his team. Best case, he pins one person, maybe kills him, maybe doesn't, maybe he gets a Zarya shield, something crazy could happen, but even then you're leaving 5 members behind you with no shield, no defense.
This all started as well. You said that Ana boosting Reinhardt, we agreed, was kind of weak. Do you think it specifically being him was a problem, or just like in general?
It's just really weird. He's so aggressive when he doesn't have the nano boost. He gets the nano boost, and he's getting charged. It just doesn't make sense. I think they definitely need to have a team talk, and hopefully they can pull it together.
Well, we have the next map coming up in just a little bit. It's going to be Hanamura.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Uh-oh.
I knew someone's going to get excited about that. Spicy. We've seen some very interesting plays already on Hanamura. Rogue was kind of part of that too. What are you guys thinking they're coming up with this time?
Now they're going to try something different, and we did see Mei coming out yesterday, and it worked to pretty well effect. I mean, they even feigned earlier today not playing Mei. They're like, huh, we're not going to play Mei. Oh wait, just kidding, we are. So we may see some of that again, and certainly expect to see at least something unique coming out of Rogue. If you do remember, actually yesterday, Tvik said in an interview with Rachel on the stage here that they did have a couple strategies up their sleeves that they're just waiting to use in this tournament.
Now, have we seen any games from EnVyUs? What are they going to bring out here?
That's a tough one. I mean, we're probably going to see, if I had to guess, something similar to what we saw in Anubis, something that's really focused around getting an early pick or pushing right onto the point.
We did see a Symmetra at an Internet Hulk on Dorado. That's a possibility always, but I think one of the big things for Misfits is the fact, or Rogue, sorry, that they're just Junkrats. Junkrat's been doing great for them. It was on that other control point map. We could definitely see it again.
Well, we can only wonder, but time will tell, and time is actually short because we are heading into this map. So let's take a look at Hanamura together with our casters.
So yet again, Jason, it is Rogue continuing to disrespect Envy, saying we're going to put you on whatever map. We don't really care. We're hoping to try and tilt you, get in your head. Hanamura it is, and I can imagine the smirk on Tvik's face as he chooses that one.
I never thought we'd have a day where all the capture point maps are chosen before all the payload maps. Like this is, I think, the first time it's ever happened when, yeah, we'll play all the capture point maps and then maybe we'll think about payload, maybe, if we get there. Yeah, this is going to be interesting. And I think they pointed out pretty well on the desk. We could easily see Mei. This is one of the most popular maps that you'll see Mei actually played. And we have to also see if a team can adapt quick enough to that. I don't think we're going to have Mei in the beginning necessarily, because it's just not necessarily something you want to invest in. Because if it doesn't work out, you lose that first point so quickly. You typically use it into the second defense because you feel a little bit more confident, you get a good feeling of how the enemy team's playing.
Yeah, we did see it as well. The same came from Rogue. They saved it on the first one. They didn't use it on that first defense, and Complexity went looking for the Mei. And they found absolutely nothing, and it cost them precious moments. Then the switch went over, of course. And we did see it being picked up. So, but off the bat, it actually looks like we're going to see it from Tvik here.
Yeah, and he just trolled his teammates as Reinforced trying to charge out to get there to the fight quicker. Puts a wall in front of his face, probably laughs.
So is he walling his teammates in spawn in a semi-final game?
Yeah, fun stuff, good stuff.
10 out of 10.
Yeah.
Beaming.
So I'm trying to think how we feel about how the second point goes. Like typically the second point is so hard to actually attack on. But the way Rogue was defending in the past was just sit on the high ground, then send like Reinforced down almost by himself, and eventually leave AKM as the last man staying on towards the top side. It's going to be very tricky, I think, for Rogue to put up a good stalwart defense when it comes to point 2.
Again, thinking back towards Temple of Anubis, it wasn't a whitewash in favor of Rogue. It wasn't their map for the taking per se. It was a close one. But they've chosen this map specifically, so one has to expect that EnVyUs are going to have a bit of trouble here anyway. But here we go, out of the gates. It's going to be EnVyUs on the attacking side in red, Rogue defending in blue.
We're going to see Tailspin on the Genji here. He's going to be able to penetrate the actual defense here towards the left-hand side. But just trying to make sure there's no Mei. So he gets information towards his team. Not to mention that 10 seconds has gone by. So he can hit tab, and that will be the trade. So that's Taimu no longer getting into the party here. Tvik's just trying to get the freeze. And Hook's going to get headshotted by Tvik there. So they won't pick up a kill. And he gets a second on a Harry Hook. And that's going to be Tailspin going down to wins. And this will be a successful first hold.
Oh, no one puts Tvik in the corner. That was impressive work. And AKM looking on. Now it's a bit of a one-upmanship. Who's going to get the most headshots? Stunning stuff there, and unfortunately for Taimu, he just had to really get a second-hand impression of how that went down, because he was stuck on the outside of that wall for the most part. So, first hold, first tick in the box for Rogue, first steps towards a solid time here on defense And again, Tafik just getting ready to pop that wall up here. EnVyUs just trying to check their corners and make sure they got this one under cover. Most actually get over the wall here, so a lot of EnVyUs are here to play. But again, Tafik just trying to single out their target there as well. The Genji going down. Coco falls there as well. Nox gets himself too. It's all about the supports today. They're getting plenty of kills in the mix. Unco, as per usual, he sends those orbs straight and true.
I think Tavik is one of the few Meis I've seen so far. I'm trying to compare him to Coolmat, where he actually right-clicks more than he left-clicks. So instead of getting the freeze and locking someone down to make sure the team can pick up the kill, he wants the kills himself. He wants to be greedy and secure those. So it's a little bit of a difference in a little bit of those. Why did you jump in? No, why did you go solo here? He's able to stay alive for the most part. The problem is he's going to go down to reinforce. The shield wasn't going to be enough. And now Tailspin trying to look for that 1v1 against Tavik. It's just not going to work out. But the Dragon Blade is looking to come home.
Oh, it's going to be Tavik. You know how maddening it is when you're frozen and all you can do is watch the enemy Mei shoot those ice spikes into your head. Well, Tavik's living that fantasy right now. Wins finds on towards Timer when AKM gets on the chips. High end. Rogue picked this map. And my lord, they look pretty darn good on it. I'm not going to lie. Harry Hook being kept alive just a little bit longer. They put him in a shoebox, poking some holes in the top for breathing space. But they're actually not going to pick him up here as well, so they weren't able to stagger that particular spawn out as he gets healed up and ready with the rest of Envy.
Not to mention, Reinforce takes a lot of damage on his shield too, so he's got to let it charge up a little bit more. That's why you're seeing Winston in the front to soak up some damage for himself. There's going to be the Graviton Surge, and AKM, this is a replica of what we saw before. Only gets 2. But 2 is all he needs to make sure to hold on to this point. And now we're at a minute and a half left for Team EnVyUs, and they haven't even captured the first one. This isn't the second attack. This is the first attack out of this team. And Rogue is looking like all they have to do is capture 1 and win.
And the Valley of the Ultimates they're toting right now as well. Not exactly what they're looking for. Nothing that's going to really help them secure those kills so much as keep them alive. So Rogue only having the 1, it's not really an ult disadvantage at this stage. Transcendence can be very useful in this next fight. And that already having been used by Chips high end earlier on. Taimu needs to get in, he needs to be shuttered into the back lines, but so far it's shields is all he's running into. Graviton Surge catches Tavik, perhaps that was worth it for EnVyUs. Perhaps they're willing to expend so much to try and get rid of the Mei, because now Taimu, he fires up the Reaper Copter, gets himself 3 kills, and it might be a chance for Envy to break through. Finally, at the death of things, they finally get this point.
With 50 seconds remaining, they were finally able to do it, and now you're going to see Taimu push up towards the high ground. He's got Internet Hook off towards the side, and they're trying to challenge out for this high ground control. Reinforce with Earth Shatter is going to be so pivotal if Rogue can maintain this point for any amount of time. Tavik even switching from the Mei over towards the Genji, and if they go towards this high ground, like this is free reign for a Genji, just dash in and out of these fights, hitting the entire team with the dash.
Reinforce's shield got broken very quickly there as well. Pulse Bomb gets thrown into the mix, but I think, yes, the entirety of Rogue are able to scatter before that one comes down. It's a nice Earth Shatter, but will it be enough? Because AKM's knocked straight back down the stairwell. Coco gets himself 2 to pick and Reinforce. That is in crucial targets going down, but Wins gets a beautiful Graviton Surge. He's all over that one. Good charge on the cannon with AKM to back him up. It might be Rogue hanging on here, but Tami might have something to say. He's gone over towards the Reaper now, and AKM still up in the corner. Oh, Tailspin, where you at, mate? His head definitely went that way, and his body went the opposite direction. And AKM will eventually fall. Tami stayed alive a little bit longer than he should have, but Rogue will hold.
So Rogue lose the fight on the top half, the actual top part of the map. Reinforce even commits his Earth Shatter, but when they all drop down, they're so grouped up that Wiz hits a 5-man Graviton Surge and helps secure all the kills with his brother AKM, and even Unco throwing in a couple of shots here or there. I want to say it's like borderline lucky. If that was actually planned, that's so damn smart to force them to use their ultimates on the high ground, thinking they caught out so many people of Rogue just to walk into a trap.
Look at this, Rogue just trying to bend with the wind here, just like the saplings we talked about earlier on, and they head down towards the lower ground here. Tailspin notices the Reinforcer's shields down, and he's going to try and capitalize here as well. Both tanks fall here for Rogue. Things looking a little bit dicey now as well. Timer goes in yet again. It's all about the Reapers breaking open these deadlocks, and it's happened yet again. EnVyUs at the sound barrier for good measure, or maybe just for style points. They're going to get this second point, but 4 minutes and 1 remain.
And you really have to give credit to Rogue to such a good initial defense, but then credit to EnVyUs of bouncing back with having 50 seconds left on the first point to take the second point on the second attack, baiting out that Graviton Surge and be able to secure that one down. Now my question is for EnVyUs, are they going to use a Mei? Are they going to try to drag out as much time as possible on this initial attack out of Rogue?
If anyone's going to do it, Tailspin can. He's actually seen it before. I believe it was on King's Row though.
Well, what they have currently, it looks like they're not going to go for that route, so more than happy to play standard. Rogue going to go for that quick, aggressive play. So what we saw before was Reinforce and the rest of the team actually got onto a little bit of the high ground towards the left when you walk in, and then just waited for the moment to actually push through. They didn't even actually speed boost into the point. They just kind of waited. But then again, that was maybe just taking advantage of the situation because they were never challenged at the choke point. And I think EnVyUs, well, with the lineup, they're actually not going to be doing just that. They're going to be looking for the skirmish.
You might be right, Jason. Just keep themselves alive in this situation. So fairly vanilla as far as team compositions go for the defense. It's EnVyUs now, not trying to break the mold or reinvent the wheel, as it were. But Rogue, we may see AKM actually back on that Tracer and not the McCree, which in my opinion is almost just as much of a power pick, Jason. AKM's really shown a lot of strength even on that Tracer role, which definitely requires a different approach.
Yeah, and I think Rogue just feel confident in running this comp. It's very quick, it hits you really fast, and it gives you such little time if you're EnVyUs to really respond to it in a quick manner. We talked about, you know, the proactive, the one forcing the attack, or the reactive, the one running away from the attack and figuring out how to defend it properly.
Yep.
And this quick hit out of Rogue, the comp that they have, is just so hard to kind of to play against. But Tailspin, I think, is going to be kind of the key man to watch. If he can take down AKM, who's squishy, if he can go for Unco and secure the kill, then Rogue are going to be hurting when this attack actually goes off.
And the analyst was saying earlier on that Tailspin's Reaper wasn't really super convincing. Genji perhaps a better decision here, as Taimu showed himself to be a slightly better Reaper player when it counted. But now the push already coming in here. Reinforce always seems to be the first in the backlines here, but as that happened, AKM picked up chips high in here as well. Tavik, it's trading back and forth. Tavik and Tailspin now neck and neck trying to keep those kills flowing in for their respective teams. Tailspin, though, going to benefit from the Xayah shield, and that helps him a heck of a lot. Wins wasn't even looking behind him, but Tavik stays alive still. AKM going to be dodging out the way now as well, and Tailspin under pressure, forced to block and fill those Tracer shots away, and Tavik still causing problems. Tailspin, I don't even know if he's looking for Tavik there, but he gets the dash in, he gets the kill, finally falls down, and Rogue, first push, do better believe it, they're sat on this point, and they'll take it.
And EnVyUs are going to concede it as well. You can see they're already backing away, so Rogue, in an astounding time, have taken that first point.
Oh, damn.
And I Reinforced, we saw him jump in really deep on the right side and he died instantly, but I don't think that was his fault. I think Wins actually missed the shield onto him. I think someone aided up instead, so he didn't have that extra survivability and didn't get stunned up when he jumped in. So a little bit of a misplay in Rogue, but it doesn't matter because they took the point nonetheless, and now EnVyUs, with just one ultimate to work with that Dragon Blade, are looking to defend this point.
I've had enough time to set up here, but this is interesting. Tavik going to work him for the left side. He sees the entirety of EnVyUs jump across him, and he had a chance to pick a target out of the mix now. Who will it be? So far, he's actually going for his opposite number here. Tailspin goes down, and Harry Hook also falls. It's a Lucio out of the picture. Instant Hulk going down. Additionally, Taimu falling. Tavik going off his socks here, and EnVyUs running out with people on the point. Oh, it's Rogue bringing it home. That was blisteringly fast.
So they take both points on the first attack. Tavik, again, we see him do this time and time before on the Genji, on the Dragon Blade. A little bit questionable sometimes because Innerhulk already picked up the initial kill, but he picks up 3 himself, he gets the damage done, and that is a huge time bank. 7 minutes and 24 seconds to work with. EnVyUs with 4:01. This is not a good sign here for Team EnVyUs. If maybe this are the maps, because we heard about Rogue have practiced some funky stuff, maybe some unique compositions, but also maybe the capture point maps they were feeling really confident on, because they're doing fairly well. They won Temple of Anubis, they're on pace to win here Hanamura, and having an early 2-1 lead in this best of 5 series, they could be one map away from getting to the grand finals.
For Team EnVyUs, this match is no longer a meme anymore. It's no longer a joke. The fact that they keep getting these 2 CP maps thrown at them, they have to adapt and sink or swim really at this stage. They will have to go on the attack here as well. So Rogue, again, they're more than happy to go for the May. I think Tavik bought an incredible amount of time here for Rogue, and it was purely because of what he was able to create with that pick. As EnVyUs, how do you not get cut off by that wall getting thrown up? How do you avoid being split in half and having Rogue just go to dinner on one half of your team?
Well, I think most teams haven't really figured out a good way around it yet, because that's why we're still seeing May played so often. It comes down to like a lot of mobility to be able to jump over the wall or kind of fake out the wall and force a mistake, or use an ultimate, maybe catch Tavik off guard. The Graviton Surge, like we saw happen before, to kind of limit the amount of presence he could have. And again, the wall being used, you can see Taimu trying to spam through it so they can actually back up their team. But 2 quick kills and a third already coming in from Rogue, and EnVyUs are going to fail the first attack again.
Yeah, some people may not realize that you can actually break the May wall. It just takes such a ridiculous amount of damage to do so.
That it's damage per pillar.
It's non-stop. Yeah, it's segmented, isn't it? So you can only sort of knock a small hole in it. So it's impractical to try and actually damage the May wall and kill it. You just have to be patient. And that's frustrating in Overwatch.
I still say a Bastion would be pretty awesome to see, because they put up the wall, right? And then you set up behind the wall and they never see you.
Oh,
they never expect you. And then once that wall drops, you pick up kills. A Reinhardt shield won't be able to do anything, but they're going to wall him off again.
Oh!
They get EnVyUs getting split and shifts. He doesn't have a head anymore.
No, that's right. He's going to get the freeze on towards Internet Hulk as well. At least if it doesn't kill him, it keeps him out of the fight for a while. AKM, Harry Hook just trying to tug at his coattails, saying, hey, sir, pay attention to me. But no, he had bigger fish to fry. Timing was the problem there, though, for EnVyUs, or for Rogue, should I say. He goes in, and Tailspin is able to use the distraction of him to get this first point early on. They've got some time, ladies and gentlemen, but not a heck of a lot of it here. About 2.5 minutes to finish the map.
If they can finish on this next attack, they could have a little bit over 2 minutes, but they still have that leeway, right? If they finish with at least 0.1 seconds left, they're still gonna get an extra 2 minutes on the board. So nonetheless, they should ideally have a second attack. It comes down to how well Rogue can defend this. But with wins with Graviton Surge, it's gonna be looking very good for Rogue to hold, at least for now.
Again, same setup that Rogue had defensively last time, with wins. Almost in position to get another big one there as well. It's going to be the Death Blossom coming in quickly. The Transcendence is forced out of that fight, and AKM actually with fairly safe positioning towards the back of the map here. Free to just chug away at the shield being put up by Internet Hulk. This could be nasty. The Deadeye comes in. He gets himself two, and that'll do for the moment. Another flashbang comes in, but Tailspin manages to catch him unaware with the pistols coming through. Again, he'll be forced away by sheer weight of numbers here, and Rogue, a tenuous hold at best, but they'll hang on.
Yeah, it's really difficult to even take a point like this when you're in the defender's spawn with already losing 2 people on the attack. It's just too hard because they can respawn in so much quicker and just overwhelm you with numbers. But now Rogue back on the defense, 1:45 left, so EnVyUs are looking at 2, maybe 3 attacks at best. And they're gonna have the Graviton Surge, they have the Transcendence, and they're gonna have the Pulse Bomb. We could see the combo. We could see the Graviton Pulse Bomb combo that can be absolutely decimate Rogue, but so far they already win the initial fight.
Yeah, well, it's a bit of a messy one here, but Reinforced Lunko featuring off on that kill feed as Coco was kept out of that fight for the most part there. The Transcendence was thrown into the mix for good measure by Chips Hyen, but that doesn't seem to have helped keep EnVyUs alive. They're gonna have to backtrack a little bit more here as Tailspin and Internet Hulk, 2 crucial plays, especially when it comes to executing on this point. And had to respawn in and join the team again.
So no Graviton Bomb. I'm really kind of curious why they didn't go for that strategy. I don't think Tailspin had it up in time, but not to mention they lost too many people. But Rogue, if they can just hold on for 58 seconds longer, they have 7 minutes to close up the entire map here. AKM's gonna miss the shot into the flashbang Tailspin. That's still a really hard shot to hit when you're jumping over their heads, but that's gonna be the Transcendence pop. Reinforce takes down Coco, Wins gets one as well, and finally AKM's able to chime in onto Internet Hulk.
Oh, that's it. I don't know if he's making peace or war with that weapon right now. It's not living up to its name, but AKM sure is. 2 quick kills. EnVyUs, it's back to the drawing board now for one last desperate push. They don't have time to set up. They don't have time to lay a foundation. They don't have time to work any infrastructure into this attacking push. It's go, go, go.
So at least for EnVyUs, they have Internet Hulk who can go high ground and knock them off of the top, which is a big win for them because it gives them high ground control and allows Taimu to get on the high ground and just stay there while the rest of his team fights under him. Just whether or not they want to go for that route. AKM has got to be careful here, the rest of his team, if they get actually pushed out here. But they have the Deadeye available, but AKM has been so impactful for this before. He's going to be jumped on immediately here, and the shield's going to block out so much damage. Internet Hulk played that perfectly.
But Tunic gets 2 kills on the back of that one there as well. He actually shuts down Coco and Chips Hyen. Internet Hulk, there's a lot in his plate right now, but we know the man can go through the meals. He's got the fist swinging back and forth now in the Primal Rage, but he's caught inside the Graviton Surge, and it's Rogue gonna put EnVyUs down. They knock him down a peg, they put him 6 feet under, whichever one you like. They prevent EnVyUs from finishing the map, and Rogue have 7.5 minutes to do what EnVyUs couldn't.
So Mitch, let's think back to how Rogue got the first attack off. They took it in the first try. They played the really mobile, aggressive comp with the Genji Tracer and the Winston and Zarya. Reinforce got a little bit too aggressive. Yep. Though, I'm trying to remember exactly where the shield went. I didn't see it on him, so I believe it was a little bit of a misplay of Wins. But they took it on the first attack, even without their tank. Going into the second point, they took on first attack again, and it wasn't even contested at all by EnVyUs, who's not actually investing into this May comp. I mean, you look at 7 minutes, it's very daunting to kind of realize we have to hold first point for 7.5 minutes to actually win this map. And then not to mention after that, we have to hold it for another, what, 5 or 6 to just make it a tie. And that would take us on to Nepal, if I'm not mistaken, in a best of 3 to see who wins this map. It's going to be tough for Team EnVyUs, but if I had to put my money on any team in the world able to do it, it's definitely going to be them. Yeah,
it's funny, actually. The amount of times we hype up this situation where an underdog or a team is about to win with a huge time bank, then they turn around and lose it all on the first point, not being able to take it. Yeah. Now, I made a bit of a contentious statement about EnVyUs yesterday, actually, on the desk, saying that they didn't get to where they are from having these incredible and complex and intricate strategies. It was very much off the back of their individual skill and how they brought that together as a team. But it does seem here that EnVyUs don't perhaps have such a refined flowchart for approach or a refined strategy in itself as Rogue. Rogue seemed to be able to be very efficient in getting onto that point and actually holding it on the first push.
Oh, Coco, he caught quite a few people there with that Fire Strike. He has 40% ultimate off of one Fire Strike. That's insane. That is insane. That gives us such a huge advantage when it comes to this fight. If you can just get it charged up. AKM though, already towards the back. He's looking for one man. He's looking for Chips, but he's not able to get the kill just yet. That's going to be Tvik helping it. Chips is going to fall. Rogue are going to do it again on the first attack.
That's it. They're looking to try and at least secure themselves the draw, and I think they've managed to do it. Reinforce since Tailspin bending over backwards out of the point, and it will be 3-3. And that gives Rogue 6 minutes and 40 odd seconds to finish it, just to take one more point. That'll put him up 2-1 here, in case the obvious hasn't been stated enough here. EnVyUs on the ropes. They've been shown to bleed. In fact, they've been shown even to be broken in some cases. But Rogue's still going to finish the job here on this final point.
Tvik and AKM are getting really close to their ultimates. Coco, though, is going to have that for this fight. Tailspin's getting eerily close as well, trying to match up with Tvik, but they're going to push directly onto the point here. This is a little bit risky, and not to mention Coco, he misses the fire shot. That could have given him inertia. That could have stopped this draw. They could have held Rogue back.
That's right, they're pushing on their way. KM starts off nicely. Coco was caught in no man's land, and so he's sent back there. Unco takes down Tailspin. Tvik gets on towards into the whole kill. Is this happening? Do we start to believe that this is a possibility? Timer goes in, the headshot works from on towards Tvik, but he's got a lot to deal with now. He tries to get a Deadeye off, but everyone's running straight in his direction here. Into the hole, wants to get on towards the point. That's a big earth shatter from Coco. The charge backs it up nicely, but Wins is able to shield himself instantly. Now Unco using the Transcendence up from that point. Reinforces healthy, drops the shield down now, and Rogue keep chomping at the bit to take this point.
The Transcendence is gone. They need this extra healing to stay alive because they're waiting for teammates to come back in. Tailspin's able to do some good damage down, but Rogue has still been able to pick up kills left and right. Internet Karaoke and Chips, the last two people left on the point. Tvik's been forced back. It looks like EnVyUs have finally been able to hold on.
Oh my lord. Ultimates there for EnVyUs, but they choose not to use them. Still, Rogue are given 2/3 of the way to the end of the map on that point. They get obviously 2 out of 3 of those checkpoints, and they're wasting no time coming back into this fight. They do have the Graviton Bomb combo available between Wins and AKM. That could be devastating here if they manage to land the constituent pieces, Jason.
Problem is, EnVyUs will not all hold high ground together. Like, they will not group up just for the fact that they have to keep someone on point because of how quickly you can capture this point and close out the game. You can see AKM already on the point, forcing Tailspin actually jumped around quickly on top of it as well, but Internet picks up a double kill. He doesn't get punished. Wins is finally able to shut him down, yes, but the damage has been done, and Rogue won't successfully attack here.
Oh, Wins giving me flashbacks to the last time we saw him on Hanamura there. Reinforce goes over the edge for whatever reason, whether it's his own design or not. Wins might be going the same direction as well. Yep, just gonna pop over and get the respawn back in with the rest of Rogue. Ultimate's building up here, but EnVyUs have a couple to work with too. The Transcendence could be crucial, but it won't stop a Graviton Bomb from devastating EnVyUs. But like you said, EnVyUs are splitting up here.
Yep. They're definitely keeping one man on point at all times, and they need to do that, which kind of changes the way they have to defend this point because of the 2/3 already captured on this checkpoint. But if they can force EnVyUs to come down and contest them, like say they kill the man that's defending the point, then that's going to be the Graviton Surge, then that's going to be the whole Graviton Bomb combo, and that can pretty much say goodnight to EnVyUs, at least in this map alone. They're actually grouped towards the top side.
Yeah, timing is separate, but not the rest of EnVyUs. He's going to try and channel the Deadeye. He finds Unco there as well. Unco didn't even know what hit him, but now EnVyUs drop off the edge. They are essentially keeping together. The Graviton Surge comes up and catches 2, but that's not really enough for Rogue if they want to finish the job properly here. And yes, as expected, there was no follow-up. Very underwhelming, but Tvik as well getting cut down as he tries to make headway on that point. That's a few ults from Rogue squandered there, a little bit unnecessarily.
Yeah, the thing is they held onto that combo for 2 attacks straight and then used it not really synced correctly. They already lost quite a few men before they actually threw it down, and like you said, they picked up 2 with the Graviton Surge and they killed 1 with the combos. So not really the best kind of strat there, but Tvik has Dragon Blade again, and this is where they won the first point, or were the second point on the first attack.
Reinforce going straight into the back line here as well. We know what Tvik can do with that one here as well, but he needs to be given the space to do so. In the meantime, Tailspin also has his own Dragon Blade out. He's doing quite nicely himself. Tvik forced a Harry Hook there. Not a situation you want to be in at all. And again, EnVyUs holding solid. It's grim determination and not much else that's keeping them in this game.
So Chips, he has no Transcendence anymore. And I guarantee Tvik's looking at this like a tasty kebab. He's hungry to pick up these kills. And without that ultimate being available, all they're gonna have to depend on is the Soundbird of Harry Hook. Rogue have everything they need to close out this one. You're looking at, the ultimates, it's obviously in favor of Team EnVyUs, but this is the perfect moment for them without that Transcendence.
More so offensive ults there for EnVyUs. Soundbarrier comes out at the start of the fight here for Rogue, and now it's responded by EnVyUs, so both teams have a little bit of overshield going. Internet Hulk in a good position actually to use that Death Blossom if he might need it, but it may not even at this stage. Internet Hulk switching over from the tank role. He really knows how to rock here on this Reaper, and Tvik just making himself scarce. He couldn't even go in. He couldn't even find a good vantage point. Dragon Blade gets completely squatted, but now he's coming back in here as well. 3 quick kills for Rogue here. AKM files Tailspin. That's the Genji down. A chance here for just a couple seconds. EnVyUs need to be taken off the point, but no, it's not quite going to work out for the moment. They're going to back off at least momentarily as Harry Hook falls out of the pulse spot, but AKM wastes no time in getting back into the fight. This is still giving EnVyUs a little bit more time to reinforce. Tvik doesn't have a Dragon Blade, but still making do with the shurikens for the moment. The Tailspin gets cut down mid-ult. That's devastating. That's what EnVyUs needed to clean up on this point now. Harry Hook forced off towards the side. Is it possible? Rogue have the point. Rogue have the match in just a second if they can get the Winston off, and they've done it. The third map goes over to Rogue. Oh, it wasn't easy yet again. Multiple pushes on this final point. Tenacity from Team EnVyUs, but it wasn't enough to hold back Rogue. The floodgates were broken. And at the 2-1 scoreline here in favor of the challengers, the upstarts, the underdogs.
I hate to point out one thing, and one thing in particular, but Harry Hook ran into that pulse bomb, and without the healing, without the speed from him, that might have been enough to actually maintain that point for EnVyUs. Tvik, again, he actually used his Dragon Blade in the fight, where we saw right before Harry Hook died to the pulse bomb. He picked up 3 kills with it, was able to back away, get the health pack under the bridge, and return to the fight again, just to stay alive. So well done by Rogue. It took them a lot of time at the end, but they did it. They're up 2-1. And they're about to do what no team's been able to do in the last 58 games for Team EnVyUs. They might dethrone the champions.
What a day when we see kings of Overwatch brought to their knees. And Rogue, this is probably the reality they kind of envisioned actually coming into this. I don't think any one of them, if you asked them this morning, would have said that this was impossible or outside of the realm of possibility here. They haven't really had their chance to prove themselves up against EnVyUs. They just clearly don't play them across cross-region games. It was just the one, Jason, like you said, wasn't good. But 200 ping, pretty hard to frag across servers. Now let's pass it over to the desk here as we may see Rogue building towards the biggest upset of all weekend.
Yeah, big question marks there on the faces of the enemy players, and we do have those same question marks on our faces because where is Envy? Like, they don't seem like their normal selves right now.
Huck has been saying this whole time that Envy, they're going to start a little bit slow, but they're going to get started. When are they going to get started?
Next map. They're ready now.
If they get started, they have to do that next map.
This was whole part of the plan. They wanted to give their opponents this false sense of confidence, and now they're going to turn it up. They just want everybody to be lulled, and I think that's what they're doing. No, seriously, I think Tailspin has to step it up. I think some of those members on EnVyUs really need to come together as a team because right now they are choking hard.
And again, in these longer series, they do have a lot of time to get started, so we might still have a time to see EnVyUs really get into their game. Tailspin, again, like you're saying, not getting quite enough.
And being down 2-1, that means that no matter what, even if they win this next match, it's going to be Rogue's pick to end the series, which is not a place that we ever expected to see them. I mean, they didn't look like their normal selves at all, and my God, did Tvik play out of his mind. Absolutely insane Mei gameplay, as well as some Genji as well.
Yeah, they held them extremely long with that Mei wall. It wasn't until Taimu was able to hit this gigantic ultimate that they were able to finally break that defense. But you can't sit around and wait for Taimu to get, what, 4 or 5 people?
Yes.
Clear a whole team. You can't just sit around and wait for that.
I mean, there was a situation even on the first point where a Mei ice wall went up, Hulk went over, then we saw Tailspin draw out the Dragon Blade, then we saw Transcendence, and it was all for naught because Hulk was already dead. It just didn't look like the normal Envy.
Well, it does look like our next map will be Dorado, and at that, I just feel like Misfits or Rogue are great on control points.
Europeans, all the same teams,
yeah,
right?
all those Europeans,
whatever.
same thing.
Yeah, Rogue will be defending on Dorado. What are your thoughts there? What do you think EnVyUs has to change? Because Tailspin has been a name coming up every now and then, looking at the game from EnVyUs right now. Do you think he is a key issue at the moment?
I think they need to play to their strengths. Tailspin has been on a lot of characters you don't normally see him on, and Dorado is a map where Junkrat can be extremely strong. Tailspin as a projectile player, I think would fit really well in a Junkrat defense. Also, I mean, there's a lot of other things you could try here that just try something else.
Just do something else because what you're doing is apparently not working. What do you think?
I think we need to see a Reinhardt. We've been playing on the assault maps where they haven't been preferring to have a Reinhardt at all, but obviously we're going to Dorado next where it's pretty key to have in most situations. I think they just need to slow down, get behind that shield, and move forward.
For me, it's Symmetra. Let's see the Symmetra. Internet Hulk did a great job the other time defending. They almost held him on the first point. I think if we get him on that character, they're going to feel very comfortable, and they're going to be able to, you know, get this map. And they need this map because it's their pick, and they need that momentum going into the 5th game.
What do you guys think they picked Dorado? Is that a map they specifically feel very confident on, or do you think it also has something to do with Rogue's playstyle?
I agree. Based on the Symmetra we saw in previous games, they looked really strong on this map, holding that first point defense. I wouldn't even be surprised if they managed to hold a first point, but I don't know, because Rogue is really stepping up their game.
Now, Jason Kaplan over there on the desk has a super secret document with all kinds of stats in it, and it actually has that Dorado is not one of EnVyUs' best maps in terms of win percentages. It's actually one of the few that they do drop when they do drop maps. So they chose it, but we'll see in a second here.
That is true. It is Dorado, the potential last map for EnVyUs playing here on stage. But let's see if they can bring it back against the European team Rogue. And for all the action, we're going to head over to our casters.
Thank you very much. Sorry, I'm here with the keeper of the stats himself. I didn't think Dorado was actually that bad a map for EnVyUs overall.
The real question is, does EnVyUs ever have a bad map?
Yeah.
Like, do they have any...
comparatively, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's like their worst map, but they're still ridiculously good at the map. It's going to be a tough one, and I can't remember the last time EnVyUs has ever been on the back foot in a series. I can't remember a single time, and this is going to be a lot of pressure for them. Now they're here, you know, playing at Gamescom in front of a live audience. They're up against, at least Taimu in particular, and some of the other members, up against an ex-teammate in the form of Tvik, as you see on your screen. Rogue are one map away, and they don't even look like... They look like they've been losing this whole series, and yet they're ahead. They're about to do what no other team's been able to do and beat the undefeated team.
Stage 3 of Tvik's evil revenge plan. Looks like it might be coming to a head here on Dorado. Yes, it was Team EnVyUs' pick. I mean, they don't really have a bad map. I guess you could say maybe it's not their best, but come on, let's be real here. It is Team EnVyUs, and it seems that the only time they are shaking is these 2 CP maps, but that's where you got to get them. You got to hit them where it hurts. It's going to be Rogue defending to start things off here by the looks. And in terms of team composition, Tvik's going to be on that Reaper here, which generally I found to be very, very successful for him. Part of some solid holds for Rogue on Dorado in the past, and AKM back on that McCree. So much more standard damage dealer pairings here for the defensive side.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what the offensive side's going to go with. I'm going to assume it's probably going to be the McCree Reaper as their actual main damage dealers. Not to mention, Reinforce is going to have a tough time even using a shield when you have a Reaper knocking at your front door, hitting every pelt onto your shield and quickly dispersing of that one. But how are Rogue going to defend? Like we've seen, and we talked about this a lot, but we haven't seen it, of the whole mirror what the enemy team's doing. If they go high ground, you go high ground.
Fnatic don't do it anymore.
Yeah,
by the looks.
which is, in the qualifiers, that was like the main thing that caught every team off guard. It caught Energy off guard to the extent that they actually got knocked out of the entire tournament. But let's see, Rogue on the defense, they're now 1 map away from beating EnVyUs. EnVyUs need to come together. They need to have a strong attack.
Yeah, they'll be EnVyUs on the cliff edge here, digging their nails in. I don't think we've seen everything from EnVyUs yet, I'll be honest with you. Especially on a map like this, it's their pick. It's somewhere that they may at least ostensibly more comfortable. And Internet Hulk here on the Divas. So it's going to be the Diva-Zarya combo in terms of tanks here. Are you okay with this, Jason? No Reinhardt for EnVyUs on the attack here?
Well, I mean, without a Reinhardt, you can't push the payload through the underpass too easily. So it's going to say to me that they're going to come in through the staircase and try to fight them right out. And Hook's going to try to mitigate as much damage as he possibly can. And if you want to see Rogue respect this, they're backing off. They're letting get this, you know, this area. They're letting get a little bit of control. But they're going to come back swinging here in just a few seconds.
Again, the shield being down. Taimu forced to a headshot there from AKM. It's also Harry Hook. He's next in line, apparently. Quickly, AKM checks himself, going to back away with the rest of his team, and again, just adjust his positioning just a tad to keep him safe, and in a good spot to pick up chips high in as well.
Ooh.
Coco, though, couple for him. I don't think it's enough to push off of, though.
Well, I mean, they're going to have the respawns in really quickly. They're like directly next to the payload where they spawn back in from the attacking side, so they're going to have a meta advantage no matter what. Rogue's going to have a chance to contest, but they have to wait for the entire team to group up, and the payload's going to be so close to that actual checkpoint.
Payload rolling now straight towards that, the checkpoint, as you said, and Rogue have to push out now and defend it. This might not be the best opportunity for them set up, might be a little bit rushed, but they're going to go for it nonetheless here. AKM with a Deadeye, good positioning for this one, but of course it's the defense matrix. Internet Hulk here says the big NO comes straight forward and actually damages AKM enough to kill him with the charge in. Now backing away, nothing but the bunny blaster to work with, but the rest of his team already doing a heck of a lot of work, and EnVyUs will not be stopped at this point. Even Transcendence for good measure here, and Taimu gets sucked though into the Graviton Surge.
Yeah, it gets sucked in, but where's the follow-up message is going to be in the form of an Earthshatter to Vic picks up one reinforce as well. This actually might be a hold coming out of Rogue.
Internet help now, just trying to do as much damage as he possibly can. Force back over on towards the payload though, now being desuited. Just a little pistol, just a young lady trying to fight up against the entirety of Rogue here, and they will shut the door in her face. I recommend that she try again later. Payload to roll now back towards the statue, and EnVyUs now having to regroup here. No big changes by the looks of things. That self-destruct there for Internet Hulk. We've seen a couple nutty ults from D.Va players so far this weekend.
Yeah, we definitely have. He's just not close enough to combo with like a self-destruct. But Rogue, I mean, in particular to Vic, he's going to have the Death Blossom. And if he's positioned correctly, he can just completely demolish the enemy team. But they need to make sure to get this exosuit off of Internet Hulk before they go in for it.
Tailspin there, just working around the fringes right now, trying to go in there for the Death Blossom. He's going to be stunned straight up there by AKM. No messing about here. Tvik tries to go in and do the same. It's all about the black-clad ballerinas, but no one actually getting kills off the back of those ultimates. EnVyUs, though, with 4 quick kills. AKM forced into the corner now, and this should be it. EnVyUs finally make enough headway to get to that checkpoint. 2 minutes, 50 seconds in.
And now we need to see Rogue battle for that high ground control. You see Tvik immediately switching from that Reaper over to his Genji, which you can pretty much say single-handedly won them these control point maps, or capture point maps so far. But they need to get on the high ground. They need to use this to their advantage. Tailspin switch over to Genji as well. He's looking to challenge out on this. And we've seen EnVyUs just dismantle teams on this map where it comes down to pushing the payload like right outside the church, and then coming around from the high ground behind the enemy team. But Rogue, they got straight in here, and Taimu, he's just waiting for this trap to spring.
Oh, there we go. Tvik actually falls down. Taimu times it just perfectly, or just enough at least to get the 1 kill. He'll be happy at least to get 1 at this moment. I think as Unko taking down Internet Hulk, he's going to put the thumb screws in a little bit. EnVyUs, though, not really fazed by this defensive attempt from Rogue. Even though it was quite the all-in here from the defending side, it's barely left a mark.
I wonder if Rogue is just getting careless, or they thought they had an advantage that they actually didn't have. Because that's so risky to do. If you go for that kind of attack and you fail, then you say goodbye to this entire church phase. However, Chip's actually getting a really bad position. He's going to be able to pull Chips back in, but he pops his Transcendence to keep him and his McCree alive. Time is going to be able to help survive this one, but will he actually escape is the real question.
A lot of ults used there. Sound barrier even for Rogue to keep them topped up, pushing it out. And I mean, it works. They don't kill many of EnVyUs there. Coco's still able to lend a shield over towards his team going through. And now Rogue kind of, well, they're in the wrong position. They've got the backs to the wall literally right now as EnVyUs aren't stopping with pushing this cart forward. Tailspin hoping just to isolate Nox, and he does. Just to focus down on one hero, not getting his attention split off anywhere. Rogue can solidify for now, especially with Coco finally falling, but EnVyUs can keep trickling in on here as much as they can.
You know, it was the kind of smart play out of Rogue to commit those ultimates into that fight, because they wanted to put up a defense in the second phase. You don't want to let the entire enemy team go through this phase without actually being troubled at all. Tvik popped the Dragon Blade, trying to go in deep, but pretty much by himself to be forced to back away, and not to mention a Hainu coming out of Taimu, who it looks like won't have an opportunity to pick up anyone except the shield goes down, and that's Reinforced dead.
Yeah, that's right. Now, it was a Xayah shield for EnVyUs, so 2 of them were completely unaffected by the Earthshatter. A Panic ult, I think if I've ever seen one there, really didn't have much impact at all. Now, Tailspin free to go into towards the backlines, find the squishies and get that Dragon Blade working. He sort of got caught away from that Graviton Surge without a dash charge remaining, but still the rest of his team able to get in there and get the damage done. Regardless, AKM's going to find himself with a lot more guests than he initially intended on, and Taimu as well isn't even going to fall to him. Harry Hook with the melees coming out strong.
Well, the Dust, they asked, where's Tailspin? And I think he's starting to finally show up in the series. Yep. It's sadly the 4th map of the series for EnVyUs here. And they're even trying to catch up people on the awkward respawns. But they're going to be backing towards their base. Internet Hulk should ideally be backing away from this one relatively soon. Trying to get a little bit of high ground control. And Rogue, they're actually putting wins on Winston. So they're moving away from this Zarya, they're moving away from that Wombo combo, but Winston's already been taken down.
Yep, didn't last long at all. AKM as well looking for a Deadeye. Obviously, don't worry about Transcendence. You can still land those kills. I think AKM checking behind him, feeling threatened perhaps by Tailspin, but he was dead, so I'm not sure what he was looking for. Flash comes in, though. Internet Hulk will fall down. Sound barrier was being channeled there, but didn't actually go off. It was Nox who got killed before he could actually hit the ground. And Harry Hook in the corner, just being a pain in the neck. Now going to put his own sound barrier down, keep himself alive, stunned up. A couple of headshots will be enough to deal with it here. But he's attracting AKM's attention for so long that the rest of EnVyUs are able to have a little bit more safety coming forward.
Yeah, you really had to question that sound barrier, but it turns out to actually work out because they have the rest of the team there, not to mention that Graviton Surge to follow up with. But Rogue have more than enough ultimates to hold EnVyUs back here. They have that Dragon Blade out to Vic, who's going to be so crucial to them putting up a good time, or at least preventing EnVyUs from putting up too good of a time. As Time is actually looking towards the backside here. He's actually being pressured a little bit by Tvik sitting at long range.
Timmy just trying to get back now. Is being threatened very, very heavily by those backline divers. He actually cancels his ult there, but he finds Tvik in the headshot. The Genji trying to get over the wall is being cut. His life short. And there's Timmy one towards Reinforce, takes him down. Yet another one. He's killing tanks, this man. And that might just open the door for EnVyUs to stroll straight on through. AKM, where are you at, son? His head's plucked off, and now Taimu with the rest of EnVyUs pushing his payload up and forward. Taimu with a bit of an exultant swipe of the mouse, knows that his team is close to their goal. They're close to the middle of the map, and Rogue have to hotfoot it if they want to even contest.
Yeah, they'll contest. It's fixing to pop the Dragon Blade immediately here, going towards the backline. He's going to take down Taimu. Even gonna look for Coco, which is not even turning around, not even pay attention to this man. And off the back of Tvik basically here, and the distraction from his team. They will hold. They'll have another chance here to continue this pace. 7 minutes and 15 seconds in, and EnVyUs were knocking on the door and putting up a good time.
Applause ringing out there for Tvik. Well, if there's any time to be pulling off something like that, it's now. The thing is, the reason why Rogue have been winning games is that's been happening quite frequently. 7.5 minutes for EnVyUs to attack here. It's been bit by bit. It's been incremental delays that Rogue have been able to impose on EnVyUs as they move through the map here. But that's added up to quite a long time.
It really hasn't felt like that time. It's felt like 3-4 minutes, and yet Rogue has still been able to do it here in EnVyUs. They're just trying to finish the map now. Forget having a good time. They just want to finish this one. Period. Chips. He's already low in HP. He's being forced back as Reinforce. His shield is going to fall really low. And time move, Deadeye coming through. Not gonna have an opportunity though, and there's no speed boost to help him get around this corner.
Tailspin gets 2 kills without the Dragon Blade as well. Now he's gonna pull that one out just to get the job done. Even Taimu just getting involved. It's a flash down. It's a pulse bomb at his feet. He's able to get away from that one here. Reinforce comes down. Rogue now are gonna have to run and try and stall out, but over 8 minutes is a pretty darn good time if you're Rogue. Coming through, Coco takes down Tvik. That's the Graviton Surge, gonna keep them all in there, but the dash comes out. AKM breaks 3 of the black hole. The gravity not enough to hold him down, and even a Diva getting on towards the point here. Rogue throwing everything, including the kitchen sink, to try and slow EnVyUs down.
And they're just trying to delay as long as they can. They want to build up time here. 8.5 minutes we're looking at. Taimu picks up a double kill with the Deadeye. Tvik's going to come back into stall, but that should be it. But that is not a time EnVyUs wanted to finish with.
It's 8 minutes and 30. Oh, a little bit more contested on the top there. Nox cheeky little nutter. But it is 8 minutes and 34 seconds. An admirable defense effort from Rogue here against EnVyUs. We saw EnVyUs have similar problems against Fnatic, actually, if you throw it right back towards the first day. But they were able to hold Fnatic back even more severely than they themselves were held. Neither team finished the map, but EnVyUs did a better job of defending. It was that Internet Hulk Symmetra that was so impactful, Jason, and we're probably seeing it here too.
It's such a big risk to play a Symmetra here. I mean, there's going to be there's like 2 reasons. A, you're confident in it, but B, you want to try to catch them off and put up a good defense to build up some momentum. The downside is if this doesn't work out and they get overwhelmed at the first point, they have to depend on a strong second phase.
And I usually say for Symmetra, if you die so quickly and your team loses that first fight, you don't have a chance to manage to charge up your ultimate and put a teleporter down, and then you're kind of essentially useless. But Internet Hulk still makes it worthwhile with the damage he actually does in those fights. We saw multiple times he was putting people on the leash, getting a heck of a lot of damage down with the orbs, so it can still be a factor.
It wasn't even the leash necessarily, it was the fact that he puts out non-fully charged right clicks. He actually puts out like 1-2 second clicks. But because of the steady pace of these balls coming through, you get a lot more ult percent built up in the in the quick run rather than the long run when the big orbs are really easy to dodge, which is weird because a big orb obviously give you more percent, but you're gonna hit way more consistently with these smaller orbs. Pair that with your turrets, and he was able to build up like 70-80% ultimate in the matter of 30 seconds in the last time they played this map.
Yeah, Hulk had 2 teleports down, I think, up against Fnatic. And a team even as good as Fnatic, we're talking guys like IDD, QD, Buds, Custer, Stoop, all the rest, couldn't deal with this arguably cheesy strategy coming out from the support. So Rogue, again, same task remains. They need to deal with Internet Hulk. They need to blow over the top of EnVyUs before they can get a teleporter down, as that's when things get much, much harder. Tvik, surely not. It is the Mei. He comes out of the gates with a Mei on attack, Jason. What is this?
Yeah, but look at Rogue. They're actually going straight into the enemy team. They're not even giving them a chance to defend this point the way they want to. Not to mention the Symmetra hasn't really netted them too much. It's just going to be a 1-for-1 trade for now, as Reinforce will die to Harry Hook. And it looks like EnVyUs have been able to adapt to this. Yeah, the Mei is not actually that bad of a pick, to be honest, especially since you can wall off a lot of these tight areas coming into this plaza. But EnVyUs have held. Rogue pushing the payload back around the corner, and Hulk's already about 50% towards his ult.
Okay, so now the element of surprise is kind of, well, drained away. The cat's out of the bag here, and a wall going up from Rogue. He's trying to get themselves a little bit closer into the fight here without being spotted or poked down or anything like that. Hulk's still in the back line trying to get those orbs out. He has his teleporter now. Does he stop to put it down immediately? Yes, but not before just backing away around the corner. And EnVyUs have managed to win that fight pretty comfortably here as well. Don't know about this May pick. Rogue are a team who's known to go for cheesy things and stick to them maybe longer than they should. Let's hope that they know when enough is enough here.
I mean, May, she's not that bad, but she's not as good as Tvik's Genji. I think that's the big problem, is that you have this person who's been able to carry the team with Genji, you force him to play someone like May, or you have him, or he wants to even play May, then you lack the damage and the playmaking ability that a Genji will offer your team. So he switched over. Now he's going to be pretty far behind on his ult percent, and EnVyUs does have the teleporter down, so you're going to need to depend on this man here to track that down, eliminate it, and then still win the fight off the back.
Yeah, I mean, Hulk hasn't put it in a crazy different spot. He's just sort of put it at the back of the left side here. So it will be found eventually, but Timing manages to get reinforced with the Deadeye. That's a very valuable pick-off now. It's probably going to take all the wind out of Rogue's sails as they try and, again, keep coming aggressively forward, but AKM, maybe he didn't get the memo, I'm not sure, or maybe it's a fighting retreat. Tailspin falls down. He's going to try and exploit the fact that Coco is immobile, but Timing was there to support and defend his tank. And it's going to have to be, again, Rogue regrouping and coming back for another fight.
And in that fight, only one charge was used out of Internet Hulk on his teleporters. So 5 people can be able to come back into this next fight if we do see a wipe coming through. And that's if the teleporter doesn't get picked off. Reinforced again, though. He goes in hand towards the backside. He's got 5 people around him. He gets instantly taken down. And he's not effective for the rest of the fight. He's not there to help out his team with a shield or just been able to push out Chips High in on that Zenyatta. But pushing through again, Ground Surge is up, and this could be the big turning point.
There's one Deadeye being used there as well, but the man himself is sucked into the Graviton Surge there. Timing with no freedom. Oh, it's nasty. AKM comes through like a lawnmower, but Reinforced already got 2 kills to set things up for Rogue. And the question is there going to be enough reinforcements coming back in with that teleporter here? It remains to be seen as AKM already pushing wide and far. 3 players come through here, so EnVyUs have a chance to reinforce this one. No, they get the checkpoint, and the Symmetra is discounted.
And now they're overcommitted. Now they're too far pushed out because of that teleporter working against them. That's going to be one man going down. Internet Hulk's going to fall, which he wants anyways, just to respawn back in. Taimu, with 30 health, will retreat back to the church, and Coco's just going to suicide. So now Rogue have the opportunity to take this high ground control.
Tough decision, right? Put a teleporter close to the checkpoint so you can reinforce it quickly, or put it back so it's harder to spot.
Wow.
But EnVyUs messed up there, losing that one out. And it is going to be Rogue able to move forward. Yes, they lose AKM, but they're still not going to stop them for the moment.
Internet Hulk's going to be able to rejoin back in. We don't have a Reinhardt to sit on the high ground to give them that shield that they want, so that means they're going to be engaging extremely quickly, leave Timing on the high ground, and there's no one really on Rogue to really contend with him unless it's Tvik who's going to be going up there with that Dragon Blade.
Tvik not quite ready to go in and commit to this fight yet. Going to be using that ledge as a sallying point or a rally point, whichever way you prefer it, just to get a bit of information as well. And he's slippery, and there's no point for EnVyUs to commit to try and removing him at this stage, even though a Discord orb went on from Chips High. And I think he's barks loud in his bite here, but here comes the Transcendence in. Coco and Internet Hulk took a lot of damage there on the bottom, as it was AKM instigating that fight. He won't go for the Death Blossom yet. He's looking for a bit of safety, but maybe now's a chance. You can see he's heading into the back line. The intent was clear, and that's why EnVyUs were able to shut him down so easily.
Yeah, Taimu hitting the headshot there, but now Tvik's got Dragon Blade, and there's no one really to contest with him. He's going to charge straight into the back line. He's not going to free foot, but it doesn't matter. Taimu's going to fall nonetheless, and now Coco's just trying to survive with the help of that sound barrier, but he will eventually be able to take this madman down. Tvik has fallen. The payload has gotten around the corner, and now Unko popped the Transcendence. Just a little bit questionable, but it doesn't matter because they're still pushing the payload forward in a few seconds.
Yeah, I mean, the fight's still going here. I think EnVyUs did disengage for that moment now, so it's not quite done for Rogue. There's still got a bit of work to do. Taimu comes in now as well, and that Graviton Surge is going to make it oh so easy here for Rogue to get it done. Reinforced with 3 kills. He even yells out on the stage. You know he's doing well when he's making noise. And the Winston DPS goes through the roof when you got so many people that you can auto-aim on with the Tesla cannon.
So 4 minutes now for Rogue to finish off this map, to knock out EnVyUs, to finally put a tally on their winning streak, to take them 57-1. And Reinforced, you can tell he's feeling this one. He's actually pushing them back in towards spawns. They can keep this payload pushing forward, and they even force a Graviton Surge. That's actually a big win for Rogue, even if they lose this fight.
Tvik now very low in this one. Can't really reflect too much of the damage coming out here, and he eventually has to succumb. And Rogue still trying to push this payload forward. In fact, they're able to gain a lot of ground here. EnVyUs don't actually have a full cohort of players to stop this. They're going to jump in with 3, a little bit of a risk, but they know that Rogue are probably going to back away, which they do. AKM could have been caught out there, so this is going to force Unko's Transcendence to actually keep this McCree up and alive and on his feet. There weren't a lot of people there from Rogue to benefit from that one, and AKM dies regardless later to Coco.
Yeah, a little bit of a mistake here for Rogue, not to mention now EnVyUs are pushing aggressively here, realizing they have the man advantage. Tvik's able to get 1, but he's not able to save his teammates with those reflex. Tailspin will take wins down. So now Rogue, the pressure's on. I mean, they have the time to work with, but they can't get in their own heads. They need to focus up here, close this one out, have a solid push, like contest this high ground. We've seen a lot of teams struggle because they never contest the high ground. Even potentially a D.Va isn't a bad pick because you can knock them off and spread them apart.
Well, I mean, look, we have the Reinhardt being picked here for Reinforce. So going away from the Winston, it's clear that they at least want to be able to get up close to EnVyUs. Whether they want to go for the high ground or low, it seems to be the latter at this stage, at least Reinforce to allow his team to get up close to Personal. We do see, oh Lord, Tailspin goes in for the Death Blossom there as well, but good little jockeying back by Rogue. Bit of a running disengage there, but Taimu's still able to pick them off now as they're forced out in the open for him. Wins and Unco get themselves a couple kills in the mix, and Coco falls down as well to the Zenyatta. He's so deadly, this man, with a Discord Orb. AKM hoping for something there with the Deadeye, but Taimu sees him, he sees the red glow, and he sees his target.
So a lot of ultimates being used out of sync. They're not being used together to really lock down a team either way. Taimu's able to just take them down with the left clicks. Nox and Wins all gonna fall. And Tailspin on the Tracer switching over from that Reaper. Provide a little bit of extra skirmish power for the team. To Vic. He's not coming that battle against Taimu, and he's still continuing to push out here and set Rogue even on a longer respawn.
Vic had no choice there as well. I mean, his route back towards his spawn was very much open there, so Taimu able to almost effortlessly get the flash, the 180 flash there, and their finishing kill. Very impressive.
It's just weird to see that EnVyUs are holding high ground without a Reinhardt. Like, not a shield to hide behind for Taimu to just sit and be protected. And that's just how confident they are in this McCree player to not be picked off at a time when they cannot afford it.
That gives them flexibility as well. It gives them the flexibility to go for Internet Hulk on the Winston here as well. He also has the Primal Rage ready, so he might be hoping just to hold on to that and use it. But Reinforce goes down there to Taimu as well. He's starting to hit the headlines in the last couple of moments, as he probably should. Looking for Unco in the backline. It's a two-shot kill. Oh, Lord, AKM gets a lease on life, at least for a very short moment. The shield not going to be enough, though, to keep him vital. And Vic, well, we've seen that one already a couple times, and Taimu's looking damn good right now. And you know he's feeling it.
So we're into the final attack, basically, because if they fail this one, even if they do get the payload around the corner, they can stall out, they can contest time and time again. So this is where Rogue need to close this one out. They have all the tools. They have the Graviton Surge. They have the Dragon Blade, and Chips does not have Transcendence just yet. Can they pull it off? This is the time. We could see a 3-1, or we could be going to that 5th map.
Yeah. Just over a minute. And now Ultimate's here as well, coming in for Rogue. They're going to dead on a Graviton Surge. Coco uses his own one right now as well. Is there enough follow-up there? AKM hoping to catch some people out towards the side. That's a 2-man Deadeye. That might be just what they need here. Coco falls down. Taimu and Tailspin, Chips high. Everyone falling like dominoes. Rogue starts to fire up out of absolutely nowhere here. 30 seconds left in this one. Reinforce. He's got an Earth Shatter. He can stop EnVyUs as they try and get towards this point. They just might need one more ult to finish this one off here. EnVyUs has got to scurry out towards the point. Tailspin comes forward. Earth Shatter shielded off. No! Reinforce doesn't make it work. AKM falls down. Time is ticking away here with Wins going. This is not looking ideal here for Rogue. EnVyUs seem to be able to hold on, but only just scant seconds remaining. Taimu's shield blocked up. He doesn't get the shot through it at least, but Tailspin finds Reinforce there. 1 second remaining, and EnVyUs just hold on. Oh, it was damn close. And we're going to be taking it now to a map number 5.
That was too close for comfort if you're EnVyUs, I think. That was way too close for comfort. Going into the final seconds, that Earth Shatter out of Reinforce, it did hit as many targets it needed, but it doesn't matter because they had a man off to the side to swing into that payload. I think it was Tailspin on the Tracer just to maintain this control. You can see even a Sire Leaf out of Chips high in there, realizing that was way too close. And we're going to a 5th and potentially final map. We could still technically have a tie.
What we got left in the pool here for Rogue to try and throw with
Let's
EnVyUs?
see. Well, no capture point maps left. We've got Route 66. We have Hollywood. We've got Ilios and Lijiang Tower as well.
Well, that's the map picks. We're going to have to wait and see which one that is, but let's pass it over now to the desk as well. Map 4 done, and still plenty to talk about.
And wow, what a clutch game we had right there. And for the longest time, we thought Rogue is actually doing it. And, oh, come on, don't act like that.
I did not.
They lost themselves here in the desk. Like, I can't believe this is happening. And it did look like it could be happening. However, EnVyUs somehow managed to, in the end, hold it on the last second. What were you guys thinking of that match?
At the end, or just that whole map, Taimu specifically, he is now showing up. You saw him actually having fun, flicking around. He's known for that, those small adjustments, and he goes really, really fast with those flicks. So I'm just excited because now that he's warmed up and he's seemed to found his place in these games, he's going to continue to be on fire.
I mean, when it takes like that many games to finally get fired up, that's a little bit unfortunate. We are going to have one more map on Lijiang
Tower,
Tower, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's kind of a more just let's all get in a pile and start shooting at each other. Here we have some of the plays we saw this game. Coming up next, gonna see a lot more of this play from Taimo. If he can keep up as consistent with these shots as he was right here, this is where we said, like, he definitely turned on.
Yeah, these little flicks, you see the little adjustments, just how quickly he can go. And those aren't, you know, small movements. He's literally taking his arm and just running across that mouse pad. And I think if he can stay on fire, he's going to do it.
You know what? I'm on fire too, and so are the players, and that means we are just heading straight into the next game. Lijiang Tower is going to be the 5th and final match between those two, and I can't wait for that to happen. So guys, let's head over to our casters for all the action.
Thank you very much, Zoe. Well, Jason, no 2 capture point maps left, so we're definitely not going to go for a payload one. King of the Hill it is.
Yeah, of course. I mean, what do we think this is? 2016, playing payload every time? No, we're seeing something finally different again. King of the Hill, Lijiang Tower. I'm trying to think about how it comes down to these skirmishes, to just these raw fights. I mean, Tvik can carry when it's a linear kind of map where you need to push to a certain point or you need to capture a certain point. But to be able to hold a point, I don't know how well his Genji can really perform when his ultimate obviously has to go on cooldown at some point.
It's all about the ultimate, that's no doubt about it. Oh, it's going to be a tough one here as well. Those first fights on all of these points are going to be very, very crucial. Kind of a fitting way to end it, really, Jason, now I think of it here. You know, no more shenanigans, no more crazy strategies, no more weird payload performances here. It's just run at each other and just pretty much brawl out for these points here as well. Rogue laying down the gauntlet. It's going to be a gentleman's challenge to finish this series.
And I'm assuming we're going to be seeing probably a Reaper Tracer out of both teams, or a Reaper Genji, preferably probably out of Rogue if Tvik wants to play it, though. I still think he's going to be going for a Tracer kind of route, and ACAM will be playing over onto the Reaper. So we're not going to see like the Tracer Genji, which gave so much success to Rogue. And even at that rate, I'm not sure how confident Tailspin is right now, because he hasn't really been able to kind of show up the level he's been able to do when he's at home, you know, in his comfortable settings kind of thing.
Sure.
But it's going to be a bloodbath. It's going to be a battle down to the end. I really don't know what team to give it to.
Well, there's going to be a battle down to the end. Ladies and gentlemen, we have EnVyUs and Rogue here playing out of their skins for you. Make some noise as we jump into the last map of this series. It's going to be a hot one. Lijiang Tower. Remember, EnVyUs, it's hard to remember the last time they even lost a series, let alone were pushed this far. So for Rogue, who stand on the precipice here, Jason, it's been a short history of Overwatch, but it is history-making stuff here for them. And they refuse to play it out on a payload map as well, going for something a little bit different. Are we going to see anything different pick-wise as well? Do you really think that's appropriate at this stage?
I'm just trying to think, what would you possibly switch to at this stage that hasn't already been played? I mean, Mei is viable if you can get on the point and try to hold it off with the walls, but other than that, it's just you got to play your standard game. Even if Rogue's been practicing something wonky here, it's still too risky, in my opinion, to pull it out at this kind of stage. I mean, this can be you going home or you going to the grand finals.
Yep, grand finals, that is what is on the line here. One more to decide it, one more to see if Team EnVyUs, the kings of Overwatch, will stand, or will they be brought to their knees by Rogue? And the biggest upset we have seen in quite some time. We're going to be playing into Tower here as well, Jason, so plenty of opportunities for Winston players to make big impacts on the flow of the game.
Ooh, Night Garden's going to be interesting. Or Garden, sorry. I always get those confused for some reason. Night Market, Garden. Garden's going to be interesting, though, because we see Taimo sitting on the Reaper and Tracer sitting on the Tracer, or Tailspin sitting on the Tracer. On the other side, though, for Rogue, we do have the Genji Tracer combo, so they want to be very mobile. At this point, this part of the map in particular is actually really favorable for that. I'd say like Night Market, where you want to play the Reapers because it's a lot of close quarter combat. But this is going to be, I want to say, going Rogue's way, just because of the composition they have. And we've seen it already in the past on the both capture point maps.
Well, at the very least, it might give them the first fight here as well. Like a bit of Tracer action. We've got some deadly Tracers on either side of the coin here. But AKM going early for some information there, or at least forging ahead, hoping for a squishy target in the backline here. But it's actually Coco and Tailspin who open up the account for EnVyUs. Wins and Reinforced go down, so Tank's falling first here for Rogue. Interesting stuff, and I guess the rest of EnVyUs free to clean up the rest of the damage dealers in Sundry.
Yeah, so EnVyUs will get that initial cap, just like you said, and looks like the initial attack for Rogue just didn't work out too well. Like I said, both tanks falling. Reinforced on the Winston has been kind of lackluster. I think every one of us have been agreeing. He goes a little bit too deep, a little bit too aggressive, where on Reinhardt you're a little bit safer in terms of that shield you have to buy some time for your teammates to get there, where on the hand of Reinforced, he just jumps into the back line and the shield just kind of never comes down because of how quick he gets bursted. Tvik looking for that 1v1 against Chip Hyde. He'll be able to secure it here at ACAM's able to get the pulse bomb and stick it right on an internet hook, and there we go. Rogue getting some momentum. They will capture the point.
Yeah, quick flip there for Rogue as well, not a moment too soon. Reinforce managed to cause a lot of problems there, jumping into a pack, a closely knitted group of EnVyUs players. Oh, now Tvik will have that Dragon Blade ready to roll out for that next fight. Instead of Hulk, though, he'll have the ultimate of his own to work with, and EnVyUs don't want to waste too much time before re-establishing their dominance over on this point here. Obviously, we're probably going to see this map played again, or possibly anyway, as it comes around, and as it is obviously a best of 5 of these maps. But Instant Hulk again, he's pretty much emulating Reinforce's behavior. Getting to the back line, but it's a sound barrier going to make it a little bit harder. And he's actually backing away towards Tvik. You can see straight away, it's like a voice command. If Instant Hulk knows Genji's going off, he's going to go and try and find him.
It's very dangerous to fight a Winston in this area too, because of how easy it is to be knocked off into these death pits. But so far, Internet Hulk's been able to pick up so many of these kills, even in his ultimate, in his primary H form. Reinforce is finally able to pop his as well. But the point, it shouldn't be turned just yet, as we did see Internet Hulk try to go for a cheeky turn.
Yeah, and AKM as well. Pulse Bomb pretty commonly used to finish off Winston's. It gives you a good chunk of damage, and you know it's going to help you secure that kill, but AKM opts to hold onto it for the time being. He's actually forced off that point, despite actually getting the kill on towards Internet Hulk. It's a sound barrier now for Team EnVyUs, but only 5 players benefiting from it. Pulse Bomb comes in, Harry Hawk gets killed. Can't do much about burst damage when he got the Transcendence up, and AKM spraying it into this one. Avaton Surge not yielding so much for EnVyUs here. They lack the follow-up, and they lack the damage. The finishing prowess was not there.
ACAM basically by himself with the Tvik on the point here, trying to defend it, trying to maintain it, but Tailspin and Hulk are just a little bit too strong of a combo. Unfortunately, it will not be enough here. Team EnVyUs will turn the point back, or will they? They're just trying to track out some time, trying to build up some extra percent as Nox came running back in, but I have to wait for the respawn of him, and now, not to mention Reinforce, who, again, went a little bit too deeper. That's going to stick.
Oh, that's
and that's
nasty.
2 kills.
Unco and Reinforce. Nice by Tailspin. They managed to get a bit of a lob on that one as well. I mean, that fight, Jason, just being so elongated kind of benefited Rogue here, as I think they got like 30% capture progress just by contesting.
Yeah, and EnVyUs are going to have at least Internet Hulk again with that ultimate available, but they used so much in that last fight that Gravitas is just going to hit absolutely nothing. It looks like a really big whip out of wins here, unfortunately. Internet Hulk's still in the back line. He's more than happy to sit back here because no one's focusing him. There's no Reaper to deal with him, and we need to see Rogue potentially switch over to this.
Internet Hulk back towards the safety of the point now, and Tailspin there to join him with AKM down. He actually had a Pulse Bomb to use, but that's not going to work out. It's a Dragon Blade for Tvik, though. Again, only gets a little bit for his trouble, and Tailspin running out of lives here. Still, the rest of his team is able to come in and keep him alive, and Tvik just jumping off and on that little ledge here, making himself scarce. Reinforce gets chips, and there's Internet Hulk with a quick double there as well. He got the tank and Nox. Nicely done here. EnVyUs coming back in with numbers, and they keep this one going. They keep people flooding on towards the point. Not only will they hold it, but they'll be close enough to winning by the end of it to put so much pressure on Rogue.
Yeah, but Rogue have finally been able to pick up these kills. They've been able to finally shut them down. So the point should be captured any second now. That Reaper pick, if it ever comes in out of Rogue, I mean, I feel like they're more than happy, and this is something they've been practicing for a long time, but Internet Hulk is just never being challenged, and it's gotta not be fun to be Unco here, or even Nox, just constantly being pressured on time and time again. We do see, though, the Graviton Surge and the Death Blossom combo up out of Team EnVyUs, and they have more than enough time to get on this point and at least set up the fight they want to.
Yeah, they can actually move at a fairly leisurely pace here, to be honest, but Coco now going to be cut down as well. Oh my lord, it's all about Rogue here. They managed to stave EnVyUs off. This is getting a little bit dicey now for the North American squad because it's 94% on the point. Tailspin was the only player to get a kill here, and that's not really slowed Rogue down at all. Tvik got to press forward now, and it will be the first stage going over to Rogue. It's a back and forth flip, but the timing was in their favor.
So even with playing Reaperless, they're still able to win those fights. Have to credit to Nox to actually keep Unco alive. It's basically his job to shuttle him around, give him the speed boost to run away from Internet Hulk and boop him away so they can extend these fights, and most importantly, keep their backline alive longer than Team EnVyUs is able to because of Tvik on the Genji, where we're seeing the lack of Genji on Envy's side. So we're going to see, it looks like, the next map coming up, and Taimu, I'm wondering if he's still going to stick on this Reaper. Like, it's not necessarily bad. There's a lot of tight quarters to fight in, but they still can't really answer. I have been unable to answer, at least convincingly, to this Genji Tracer combo.
And Command Center as well, a great map for Tracer play in general. The middle room is concentric. It's very, very easy to get out of your opponent's peripheral vision. A lot of opportunities to get in, get out, and get the job done. It will be Rogue, just take the direct approach, and so do EnVyUs here as well. So the first fight is just going to be from both teams colliding essentially two large astral objects. It's going to be AKM trying to get into the back line. Quick rewind there as he realizes he's taken too much damage early.
AKM, though, he's been able to stay alive. Most importantly, that's what you need to see out of a Tracer. The damage is good, but staying alive and keeping your team and having a chance is even better. And just like that, Rogue have been able to pick up the kills. Internet Hulk's one of the last men remaining as he punches AKM in the face. But Tvik is still going to be there. Eventually, he's going to fall as well. And there's still 2 people on the point. Out of both teams, the point still has not been captured for either one.
Yeah, quick reinforcement there from Rogue. A couple players now. It's going to be Nox and the man himself, actually, on this point. Reinforce jumps forward, trying to knock Chips and Taimu back here. At least keeps it in stasis, but it looks like it's definitely heading over in the direction of EnVyUs here, as Rogue are only able to come in and drips and drabs here. It's just a patchwork of players trying to make something happen. But no, eventually they will be knocked back. Lovely work from Internet Hulk earlier on there. He used his shield really nicely, just stuttering in and out of it, making it hard to hit, and got himself 3 kills in the progress.
Yeah, I mean, if we were to compare like the 2 Winstons, I think Internet Hulk just has way more experience than Reinforce could ever have at this rate. So Internet Hulk is basically a Winston main for his team. But he plays it so well, like you said. He knows his limits, he knows when to get out, and Reinforce kind of lacks that, unfortunately, for his team. But Rogue have been able to get this far so far with it. And you sure as hell better believe that they can continue and actually potentially pick up this win.
Yeah, it's time to start the fight. And Tvik, well, he wants to try and find Chips early on here, but the Transcendence was essentially forced out of Chips. He was feeling threatened, and it was actually a pretty good time to use it anyway. And it's going to allow Tailspin to go into the back line and get 2. Tvik still wants to kill Chips. Unfortunately, he's not even going to get that done. EnVyUs completely pushing Rogue back off this point, giving him very little headway.
But you can see, like, Tvik went straight for Chips in the back, right? But instantly, Harry Hook turned on speed, and Chips was able to get the distance, create the distance between him because Tvik used the charge to actually get to him. And once he doesn't have the ability to get in your face and do the damage and get resets, Genji's going to be turning pretty useless.
Yeah, I mean, it's so, well, it's not easy, but it is possible to really put a Genji out of contention there to actually get kills just by a boop or a speed boost or something like that. Timer goes forward there as well, no one even giving him a second glance, and that allows him to do the brunt of the damage here for EnVyUs. Now he walks back onto the point. Well, Harry Hook and Internet Hulk are going to be the other ones to get those kills there. Reinforce, AKM, and Tvik were all too busy worrying about other things, and Timer just walks around the side, strafing, putting shots in one after another.
And I wonder if we're seeing, is it stubbornness out of Rogue, or is this just them convinced that this comp's going to work? Because they haven't bothered to change a single thing, and they're now about to be 100% to 0. I mean, to be fair, it did work on the last point onto Garden, but it's just doing absolutely nothing here. They haven't been able to get a favorable fight yet.
Unco, no protection for him whatsoever here. EnVyUs managed to keep the core of Rogue so busy that the Zenyatta had to fend for himself against Internet Hulk, and that is not a match that you're ever going to win as the squishy Omnic. Now, Tailspin forced to get out of that fight there as well, as AKM will be able to deal with Harry Hook comfortably enough. Overtime ticking down now as well, and EnVyUs, this may be a shutout. They've just got to complete it. They've got to put finishing touches on this map. It's AKM gets on towards Chips high end at least, but he and Tvik are playing out of their skin, trying to stay alive on this one, and again, it might be enough here as Coco now realizing all of a sudden he's without teammates, and Reinforce comes over the top. Nice work from Rogue. They had very little to work with, but they're able to use it to secure this point now, where they have got a long chase to make.
100% here. AKM is getting really close to his pulse bomb, only at 50%, but it charges so damn quickly that might as well just be 100% at this rate. And that Dragon Blade is going to be crucial for Tvik. They need to have a clean fight here because there's so many people who aren't close to their ultimates. And I say that, look, it's just 2 people. Funny enough, it's but the Wind's ultimate, the ground toss are just so impactful in these fights to kind of give you a very one-sided affair. But so far, Tvik's not able to accomplish too much. Tailspin takes on Unco, and Taimu gets reinforced down.
Oh, nice work though. Manages to at least avoid himself getting killed by the Death Blossom, blocking that damage back in the direction of Taimu. But Reinforce still went down to that Reaper roll. So it was just traded out there for Rogue. And now EnVyUs get the sound barrier here. That's going to give him a huge advantage now, as it happens sort of mid to late fight, while Rogue are already quite exhausted, already quite low on health, and EnVyUs just get a second win coming in.
Yeah, the contest, not to mention, they're able to pop the Transcendence. Internet just looking for someone to kill. The ground toss search is going to be locking them down here. You can see Reinforce just swinging, just trying to somehow stay alive here. Even being pushed off the point, but he's going to delay it for a little bit of extra time. AKM gets the post bomb, and Internet could force the Power Rage out of him, but I don't think Rogue have enough men. It just wins and knocks.
Yeah, they just managed to get on towards the point now, and the next wave of reinforcements is going to be even longer away. So EnVyUs, they answer back. It's a quick fire round. Rogue tried to bring him back into their favor, but EnVyUs was so far ahead to begin with. Very hard task to manage.
So now on to Night Market. This is where things are interesting for me, at least. Thinking about Rogue, and are they going to adapt at all in their compositions? They've been sticking with the Genji Tracer for as long as I can remember now over the course of these 2 days. And it looks like they're going to be doing it yet again. Still no Reaper being played. And Internet Hulk having so much freedom, and not to mention no pressure on him to sit far and extra deep in the back lines, because he doesn't have to worry about a Reaper just popping out of nowhere and destroying him. Means he can play a lot more carefree. Where Reinforce has to be so careful of every single engage he goes for.
Margin of error a little bit slimmer for Reinforce in this case. Taimu's Reaper was quite impactful on that last map here. Maybe Rogue should think about it, but like you said, they're not. They're quite happy playing it like this. So Night Market is going to be the next map. Chances for Genjis to get in and out of the point comfortably enough, and Twix hoping that's going to make the difference here for Rogue. I still wouldn't be unhappy with one apiece here. Again, he loves chips. He's pretty much got a magnet on him for this Zenyatta, and he'll be able to pick it off early on this time.
Yeah, in the meantime, they pretty much just trade both Zenyatas. Tvik gets chips, but Render hooks in a 1v1 Unco there. And a 1v1 is obviously going to be a little bit better than a 2v1, but now Tvik's a little bit too far pushed up. He's too far in the back line as EnVyUs just turn around and look for him. And Tailspin is still doing some work here on this Tracer.
Yeah, Tvik actually being essentially pacified by Tailspin. They're not really sure where to go. And while he was sort of trying to decide his next avenue of approach, Tailspin and Taimu combined quite nicely and leave Rogue with only one player standing. He was forced out almost instantly.
And Tristan's a relatively good counter to Genji, just because you're so mobile and you can create distance, which is what Genjis hate. They don't want you to get away from them because they can't do the quick combo. They can't right-click you, which obviously attacks quicker than your left click, and they can't use their obviously melee onto you here. But Tvik, look at that. He charges straight in, gets some damage, backs away, knowing his limits, and he has the Dragon Blade up ready to go, but he doesn't want to commit it because of the sound barrier being used out of Harry Hook.
And he doesn't want to channel, he doesn't want to use that ultimate until he's not being focused down anymore. While everyone's looking at him, they'll know exactly what he's trying to do. Tvik goes down, and he tries to come in from the backside, but Tailspin is there to meet him with the pistols. And EnVyUs are not being tested here. Rogue, they still have to win a fight in this main courtyard before they can even transition on towards the point, and that's where EnVyUs have been stumping them.
Coco is about to have his Graviton surge up. And Tailspin's going to have his combo too. They have the Graviton Bomb in just a few seconds. You can see the Pulse Bomb thrown in and out of AKM. It's just not going to net anything though. And now Tvik trying to go head-to-head against Taimu, who's just going to get punched with the elbow. And we'll still not be able to take this point here, but Taimu with Death Boss available, he's just going to save it. Like Rogue, we need to see a switch. This comp is not working past that first point. And even then, they got a little bit lucky.
And again, Rogue's array of second chances is now dwindling away. It's the same case we saw on Command Center. That allowed EnVyUs to get so far ahead that even once Rogue had a good push and a good take, all it took was for EnVyUs just to charge up enough ultimates to shake them free at the point. Taimu comes in for the backside there as well. Nice little positioning coming with the Death Blossom. Only got himself unco, but he's thrown Rogue into complete chaos. And now he and Harry Hook, Chips is there also to clean up.
And now they have another Pulse Bomb again to use into this final push because Rogue have to go really quickly since we're about 90%. And because they go through a tight corridor, this Pulse Bomb could have so much value for him and his team. But Rogue have the Graviton Surge, so that's the big turning factor. That's like the big ultimate they're going to look to take this point back. Even AKM's been able to make his way through onto the point, but he has to stay alive. He cannot afford to die here.
Well, Transcendent's going to make it a little bit harder for him to get the damage along, but at least he can try and stay alive. That's the Pulse Bomb, cuts through it to a degree. There's only really Harry Hook to go down there, and Taimu again, another Death Boss, some pretty devastating stuff in general, but only AKM following this time. However, when you take Tvik falling at the same time and Unco and Nox following, that's damn good news for EnVyUs here. Overtime ticking down, and no one from Rogue is even around to see how this match ends, but I could tell them it's going to be a 2-1 in favor of EnVyUs, and they are on match point. One more round, and EnVyUs will have taken the series, no matter how hard Rogue tried to shake them.
I'm curious what we're going to go to. Is it going to be Garden? It is going to be Garden. All right, so this is the actual point that Rogue was able to take. The really spread out, long-range area does allow that Genji and that Tracer to do a lot of work, but if they do, let's just say ideally win this, are they ever going to switch to Reaper still? I hate to keep harsh on that point, but it's such a major point to make. It's so obvious from, obviously, a viewer and a caster kind of perspective to see that's something they need to go to. I mean, yeah, they might be really comfortable using the Genji Tracer, but it's just not going to work. It's like rock, paper, scissors. It's just not going to work. There's just no way to work around being at a deficit when it comes to these fights.
The last couple of rounds have definitely made a case for Taimu, and of course, that Reaper. So Unco going to pressure forward here. And yeah, Rogue stubborn. Maybe that's a weakness of theirs, and maybe that's something we can dig out on the desk after, but we still need to see how this one goes. As Tvik gets on towards Harry Hook at the very least, and both these teams coming in with 4, but now Rogue getting cut down a little bit more to size. Taimu was able to avoid scrutiny for the first, I don't know, 15 to 20 seconds of the round, able to come back in a fight a little bit later on. Problem is, he made himself scarce, but his team still died as they pushed ahead of him.
So what happens is that you have Internet Hook and Tailspin dive into the background against Rogue. In the meantime, you have Reinforced and Tvik and AKM dive into the background of Team EnVyUs. But Taimu sits there and waits for them to actually jump on the back line. And if Taimu can pick up the kills onto Reinforced, get Tvik low or AKM
really worked
low.
There, though?
No, not there. No, there it didn't work at all. Unfortunately for them. But that's ideally what they're going for, is you leave Taimu in the back lines when we do see Reinforced ever go in deep. and it kind of splits them apart and gives Team EnVyUs the stronger fight.
The closest thing we have to a lurker in Overwatch, perhaps. I'm not sure if that'll stick, but Taimu, though, making the damage stick. Pulse Bomb comes in, and AKM gets on towards Internet Hulk. It's Rogue now can move on towards the point. They're going to hold on to this one here. EnVyUs tried to flip it. Rogue gave them the ground, and then brought the Wombo combo.
It's just in these areas, because they're so wide open, it makes it so hard for Reaper to do work. And we saw Rogue win the first point just based off that fact alone. Tavik now with Dragon Blade, he's looking for opportunities, constantly trying to spam down on them. Tailspin even getting taken down to half HP. Team EnVyUs are lacking a lot of ultimates that they're going to need. Taimu's going to have it up soon. But you can see, Tavik jumps straight to the back line, takes Taimu down for even has a chance to defend the back line of his team. And he's able to pick up more with the help of AKM.
So these Assassins for Rogue really getting the job done well. They do eventually lose AKM and reinforce, but the big damage dealers for EnVyUs are nowhere to be seen. Tailspin as well going to be lacking backup for that exact reason. Graviton Surge comes in and only really catches Nox there. He does fall and so does Wins, and now at least EnVyUs are starting to get their nose out in front. Tavik going in there, no attention to be taken away by his tanks, and he's going to cop it sweet.
Like the counter to this, if you're Chips and Harry Hook, is just hope that either Internet Hook's going to sit on you, or pretty much just hope that Internet Hook's going to sit on you with this Tesla cannon. So he has really good damage to AKM and Tavik together if they try to assassinate. That's going to be time to pop in Death Blossom on top of the bridge. There's going to be some quick kills coming through. The point's actually being captured. It's already halfway being done here.
Yeah, I don't know if Rogue can actually flip it properly here as well. It's going to have to be a matter of AKM getting away to safety here. Harry Hook dies if he goes off the edge. Whatever it wasn't pretty either way. And Nox now trying to deal with the Winston. Not going to happen, but Tavik the Dragon Blade gave him a new lease on life, released his team an opportunity to actually solidify on towards his point, and they still hold it. They flipped it back in their favor earlier on in that fight, and the longer this fight goes, the more percentage Rogue gets. Once they get to the end of this one, of course, a 2-2 situation is going to leave us with 1 round left. And Rogue know this is their last chance to stay in this.
AKM just sitting on this Pulse Bomb too, realizing that we can win this fight without it. They're still keeping it contested somehow. There's the Graviton Surge and the Pulse Bomb. It's going to pick up 3. AKM again, time after time. His ultimates are on point, whether it's McCree, whether it's Tracer, and EnVyUs won't really have a chance to contest this one, and Rogue might have just closed out this second point for them.
That is just what the Doctor ordered. Tailspin dies there. His spawn so staggered out. Rogue stands on the point, and they stand tall. We are going absolutely all the way. Every possible round that could be played in this final shall be, and it comes down to one deciding round here on Lijiang Tower. The winner goes to the grand final, and the loser is knocked out of the tournament.
All right, and we're going over to Night Market, and finally Rogue switch. They have a McCree, they have a Tracer. They finally realized the comp they were running is not working on these maps, and we've seen AKM just yesterday, have a 4-man Deadeye to get Rogue the victory over Cloud9 to allow him to move through into the winner bracket match.
Yeah, it's kind of weird actually. Tavik now will be actually playing the Tracer. No. Yeah, thank you. So not a Reaper then. You feel like a Reaper might be better here than a McCree, or is it very much a preference matter when it comes down to maps like this?
Could be a preference. I mean, the Tracer McCree is not bad actually. It's not as good as I can't say it's not as good as a Reaper because it depends on how you're actually fighting these engagements, but it's definitely going to catch EnVyUs off guard because they've done this 4 rounds straight. But to switch things up with AKM hitting the shots he's able to do, it takes Tailspin down. It takes 1 man out of the 2 out of the equation when they dive into the back line, and Internet Hook by himself cannot take down Unco and Nox together.
Well, so far so good here for the combo. The Tracer and McCree doing a bit of work. AKM off towards the side, getting involved, and Conco just has to go off the edge there. He managed to get towards Unco. Chips high and again picks up Tavik, but it's not an overly consequential kill in that sense, as they were sort of sitting outside and off the point here. Rogue initially takes the point early on. EnVyUs won't flip it for now, I think, with Tailspin having gone down and being forced to respawn in, and Win so well charged up.
Such a smart answer by Rogue too, because if Tailspin can't survive, if he has to question whether or not he can engage something because there's been no flashbang to stop him, there's no hard CC, it makes him so tough for him to actually have a good fight here. But Wins with 100 energy going in with the Transcendence. Well, it looks like Team EnVyUs should be able to have enough here. The Transcendence is finally going to fade away, but Tailspin picks up too, and Rogue will have to go back to the drawing board.
If there's anyone that can get kills with a minimum of health, it's normally Wins. That was nicely done by him. Holding his own in a situation where he was vastly outnumbered, still managed to get the 1 kill on towards an EnVyUs player and staggered them out to a degree. Rogue got 25% on that point, a quarter of their way to their goal, but now they're going to have to regroup and come back in, but the ults are there. The ults are definitely there. I mean, they've got the pulse bomb. The sound barrier going to be used very early on. Now AKM hoping for a damn good Deadeye from up above. He's going to time this almost perfectly and gets absolutely nothing for it now. Forced to use the flash in there. He does eventually get Coco. That's the work of Unco, really making it hurt here for EnVyUs, but they can break back into this fight. Chips now, the others in Yana getting some damage down, but that's a good Graviton Surge for Wings. Taimu falls. He's needed in this fight. They need that Reaper EnVyUs for the extra damage, and Tailspin forced to retreat on towards the point, but he's He's going to have nowhere to run. Essentially, he can't stay in between the past and present for too long. He's just going to have to zip on and try and stay alive. It's not going to be enough here, and Rogue will flip the point back.
Somehow wins again with about 50 HP, picks up a double kill, helping save to Vic, who had about 10 HP, so he can get a health pack, so they can recontest this point yet again. We're going to see both teams tied in percent in just a few seconds, and ultimates are up now for Rogue. They have the advantage in terms of ult numbers, but Coco, he's going to have the Graviton Surge, which can completely take this fight for Team EnVyUs. There it is coming out.
Not many people getting caught in there. I think Wing Sunko, Nox eventually falls into it, but a Deadeye coming out from the backside from AK, and that's going to cause EnVyUs to scatter immediately. No one wants to fall there to the one-shot, one-kill situation. Unco, hello, gets himself 2 kills. Coco and Harry Hawk fall down. It's the supports. They're firing up. 4 kills amongst the 2 supports for Rogue. Perfect stuff, and that's how you pave the way for your damage deals to do just that when you are so reliable and so good at picking off those enemy targets.
Mitch, are we going to see this? Are we going to see Rogue upset Team EnVyUs and finally put a loss in their lost column? We're going to see them finally push in, as Taimu does have that death blossom, but no opportunity to use it just yet because they're too far away. AKM gets the flash, but he doesn't get the kill though, and Taimu will get the heal as well with the Transcendence coming through, but that's 3-4 quick kills coming in for Envy, and Rogue will lose the point.
Yeah, they fall down very quickly in that fight here. It doesn't get flipped, so Rogue's still getting good percentage here. Reinforcers making the right call by just trying to stay alive on that point. 86% is what Rogue get. They are 14% away from taking the map, the match, the series. That's all they need to do. And EnVyUs now are going to dig their feet in and try and weather the storm, because Rogue, they're so close to their goal. They can taste it. They can almost touch it, but they're not done yet.
Graviton Bomb is about to be here too. Wins is at 90% of his ultimate. That's going to be Taimu coming forward. His Uncle's going to take him down. He's been so pivotal this entire match. Uncle picking up kills left and right, but Chips is going to take him down and wins, sitting on a sliver of HP. Just the shield, pops the Graviton Surge, and the Pulse Bomb, and connects onto quite a few, and there's just a few men remaining. Rogue have picked up the kills, and EnVyUs are falling down. They're going to get the point, and now EnVyUs have 1 attack left.
Scant moments remain for EnVyUs. Now, if they flip the point, they can almost turn this back around. It could be the reverse sweep here, but Tvik, he's going hunting. He knows that Taimu's lurking out towards the side. He knows that this Reaper wants to work in with the rest of EnVyUs to take the point. He's got to go to the point. He's got to stall it out. That's all that EnVyUs can do here. Rogue are holding. Timeout. Overtime ticks down. There's no chance. Surely can they trigger one more time? They can. Coco gets onto the point really quickly. This is not done yet. Put your damn headset back on, son. You got a game to play. Overtime ticks down yet again. It's it. Finally, we finally see the upset of Overwatch history. EnVyUs, the king is dead. Long live the king. And Rogue have done what no other team could do. They came here to win, to beat EnVyUs, and that's what they've done.
And just look at Reinforce's face as well. He can't even believe it. He's so excited. After such a hard-fought battle, going 5 maps, going the whole distance, even on the King of the Hill, are able to close it out. And now they're going to look on the sides as Rogue plays against Fnatic next in the last semifinal of the day, as they find their opponents into the grand finals.
Well, some pretty crazy stuff and crazy scenes here from the stage. EnVyUs have fallen. They're out of the tournament. They will not be the best team across Europe and North America. But Rogue have a shot. It's been a long, bumpy few months for them after dropping IDD, QD to Fnatic. Eventually, they struggled. They struggled with direction. They struggled with strategy. They struggled to stick together and make the right calls. But now they're here. It's a mammoth task they have finally overcome. The boys in blue. They're not at the top yet, Jason. Still one more challenge remains, and we better hope that they haven't already played their grand final performance here. It is time now to pass to the stage. It's going to be Reinforce and Seltzer to take it away.
Thank you so much, guys. I want to interview you, but are you done catching your breath? Are you breathing?
I don't know what to say. Like that, we just broke the win streak. I have no words.
For those of you out there who are not aware, EnVyUs has been undefeated for months, for matches on end, and for the first time, Rogue has overcome, and in a huge way. You went down to every possible map, every last minute. Is that what you expected this fight was going to be?
I thought we would have them on the Dorado, so going to Lijiang was really nerve-wracking. I mean, it just went all the way, I don't know.
Well, I have to ask you guys, on map 1, we played Temple of Anubis. That's not a map we see very often in competitive play. Why is that, and what did you think when you saw it?
I don't think a lot of teams has just practiced to CP, because we didn't play it as much this spring. And so teams just don't feel confident about it. But we in Europe, we've practiced tons of CP, so we were prepared and we were ready.
On Kings Row, you guys had a map that was EnVy's pick, and you nearly took it back from them. What would that have meant for you? That would have been the end of it all.
Yeah, I don't know. Like that map was so close. We did a few mistakes on the last end, and they just had like the tiny bit of luck and skill to just win the map.
Well, there were so many amazing moments in those games, and as spectators, we tend to follow the DPS a lot, but you as a tank had some amazing moments, and your supports came through in a huge way. Were there any moments that you remember that your supports really helped you out?
My supports? Well, whenever we get Sorry ulted, I know that Anko has my back, and Nox with the engagement ults. I mean, their ults are some of the best in the game, so I'm very thankful to them as my teammates.
Well, you better give your Zenyatta a big hug. He got you out of some tight spots. We are gonna let you guys go and prepare for your next match. We have another exciting match coming up for you guys from the Overwatch Atlantic Showdown. I'm gonna give it over to our analysts.
Thank you so much, Rachel. Rogue did it. What everyone thought is impossible, they managed to pull off. They did win over EnVyUs, and all those games we watched just there on stage were as clutch, as close, as exciting, as nail-biting as they possibly can get. And you guys are out of words, aren't you now?
Oh,
I knew they could do it. I always believed in them.
Yeah,
They're
right.
an amazing team. I've called it from the beginning. I always had faith in them.
I knew it would be hard, but that really was, up until the very end, nobody was sure what was going to happen. I was really losing faith in, sorry,
That's the Genji play,
Who do we
right?
want to throw under the bus? Tailspin,
We were talking a lot about the Genji play that we were seeing from Tvik. It wasn't really converting in a way that we were hoping it to convert earlier on in the King of the Hill. He made the switch over to Tracer, and it happened for them in the end. They made it happen, and you really cannot overstate the gravity of this moment, because in the history of esports, there have only been a very few teams that have gone on undefeated streaks like this. You think of NIP, you think of players like Infiltration in Street Fighter 4. EnVyUs was on the cusp of this. Months and months of being undefeated. Absolutely unreal.
They did
to see this
start
happen.
slow, but it was like a lawnmower. You pulled it like, we'll get it, and it took a little bit too long, and in the end, Rogue has been so strong these last couple of games. It feels like they've just gotten better and better and better. And here, I think it just was, they had to drop the Genji. In these matches, the only matches that they won, they didn't have Genji, or it was the Garden, where Genji is usually a little bit actually preferred.
Yeah, and I just want to comment on wins. I think he played an amazing Zarya. He showed up for his team. Altogether, I feel like Rogue were more balanced. For EnVyUs, it seemed like some players got really hot, and then they cooled down, and then once again got hot. But the whole team as a whole, I don't think they came together. It just seemed like, you know, sometimes Tailspin was doing really well and Taimu was missing shots. And then on the other hand, you know, Taimu was really hot on that Dorado match and then kind of fell off at the beginning. So, I mean, congrats to Rogue, congrats to you, Zoe, for believing.
Because I was right and you guys were wrong, and I didn't want to say it, but that is what actually happened here on the desk. And that was our first semi-finals, ladies and gentlemen, and we have another one coming up. It's going to be Reunited and Fnatic. Both teams really impressed us yesterday. Both teams played some amazing games. That's going to be a very close one as well. What would you guys think?
I mean, how could you beat the team that just beat EnVyUs, that just unthroned the champions? You got to go with Rogue here. They're on too much momentum.
But Fnatic and Reunited, I don't know. Fnatic played really well this morning, and Reunited yesterday had some incredible games too. Maybe a little bit in favor of Reunited, but that's another game that could just go either way. These last couple of games are going to be outrageous no matter what.
I would say the big difference between the two teams we just saw and the two teams we might just see coming up is I felt like Fnatic's play, mechanically, once again, not super strong, but they always had a strategy, they always had a plan, and they were very together. Everything was super coordinated, so I think Fnatic are going to pull it out, but it's going to be very close.
Well, we are going to talk a little bit more about those two teams, but before that, I want to go into a quick break, and then we're back with the second semifinals of the Overwatch Atlantic Showdown, so stay tuned.